145 billion points. The points I earned from this large-scale school event are exactly enough to get it. At first glance it was shocking, but upon closer inspection, Lu Xing spotted something odd. How could it be such a perfect coincidence? At the false god realm, most people could not even make full use of a single rank building. Logically speaking, rank buildings should never appear among student rewards. Yet one had unexpectedly shown up this time. What was more, its price landed precisely at the number of points he possessed, as if it had been tailor-made for him. Sometimes, when things are too coincidental, they are no longer coincidence. After careful thought, Lu Xing reached a clear conclusion. He was receiving state-backed support. Most likely, the spirit essence refining well had been deliberately offered by Linhai Elite High School, or rather the Linhai Municipal Education Bureau. Their goal was to place an early bet and invest in him. They are even willing to give out in strength building. The school is really going all out. Lu Xing marveled inwardly and immediately redeemed the spirit essence refining well. Once he possessed in strength building, no matter how good other rank buildings were, they could not compare to even 1/10th of it. He hastened to check the well's effects. S-rank building, spirit essence refining well. This well automatically draws attribute-free spiritual energy from heaven and earth into its main shaft. Through layers of ancient inscriptions inside, the energy is transformed, purified, and refined. Finally, separate branch wells gush forth specific single-attribute spiritual energy. The loss rate is lower than 0.01%. When cultivators train beside a corresponding branch well, their bodies continuously absorb high-purity, single-attribute spiritual energy. This gradually raises the proportion of that specific spiritual root within them, suppressing all other spiritual roots until they are transformed into something comparable to a top-grade heavenly spiritual root. The higher the concentration of single-attribute spiritual energy, the faster the transformation proceeds. Training within an environment of single-attribute spiritual energy also accelerates practice for related cultivation arts, spells, and formation techniques. The growth rate scales with spiritual energy concentration. For example, tenfold fire attribute spiritual energy boosts training speed for a top-grade fire spiritual root by 1000%. However, the refining process consumes massive quantities of spirit stones for catalysis. The minimum monthly consumption stands at 100,000 spirit stones. Once a single spiritual root's proportion exceeds 90%, the change becomes permanent and irreversible. Evaluation shatters the innate spiritual root dogma. Can mass-produce high-talent cultivators artificially. Carries profound strategic significance for immortal cultivation civilizations. Its value is immeasurable. This is huge. After reading the full description of the spirit essence refining well, Lu Xing could no longer contain his excitement. Joy surged through him, and he shouted inwardly in triumph. With this artifact, he would no longer have to worry about spiritual root aptitude. He could mass-produce geniuses with top-grade heavenly spiritual roots. Combined with the power of his innate spirit physique, was it possible that every inhabitant of his divine kingdom could one day possess heavenly spiritual roots? A priceless treasure unique to immortal cultivation civilizations. Breathing fast, Lu Xing got up and completed 100 push-ups, 100 squats, and 100 sit-ups. Then went through a set of military-style boxing forms before he finally calmed down. Lu Xing drew a deep breath. He glanced at the final note for the spirit essence refining well, a minimum monthly cost of 100,000 spirit stones. At the rate of 10,000 faith points per spirit stone, that amounted to 10 billion faith points. Translated to the real world, that was 300 billion faith points every month. And that was only for running it at minimum power. Worthy of being in strength building. Ordinary false gods, even talents like Long Aoyan or Feng Qingyang, could never afford to maintain it, Lu Xing thought to himself. Still, compared with its functions, the cost felt worthwhile. Once his emotions steadied, Lu Xing directed his consciousness into his small world. The 180th year inside the small world. The Divine Kingdom's population surpassed 10 million. 3 new cities were built in the Western lands: Star City, Heavenly Citadel, and Scale City. Unlike Blackrock City and White Deer City, where martial artists and immortal cultivators lived side by side, these 3 new settlements housed only immortal cultivators. Xian Yuan, the city lord of Star City closest to White Deer City, had been the biggest dark horse during the Demon Beast War. Lu Xing placed the spirit essence refining well between White Deer City and Star City within his divine kingdom. Though called a well, it more closely resembled a tower. It spanned several hundred zhang across and rose more than 1,000 zhang into the sky. It took the form of an octagonal jade platform with 108 layers, each capable of holding over 1,000 people. Dense, small openings dotted its surface as if it were a living creature. The moment it was placed, it began greedily drawing in surrounding spiritual energy. At the tower's core lay a central, main shaft piercing deep toward the Earth's core. It connected to branch wells on every layer and released refined spiritual essence. Before long, the spirit essence refining well shut down. Lu Sheng issued a divine edict informing his key subjects of the well's functions. They immediately led teams toward its location, bringing large stockpiles of spirit stones. After inserting 100,000 spirit stones, the spirit essence refining well reactivated. Whenever they wished, it could refine the 5 basic elements: metal, wood, water, fire, earth, and even rare variant attribute spiritual energies such as wind and thunder. Disagreements soon broke out within the divine kingdom over who would gain priority to train inside the well. Yuzo spoke. Let the older generation go first. Young people have plenty of time ahead of them. Many of the original elders from the Giba tribe are trapped by poor spiritual root aptitude. They possess rich experience and mental fortitude, yet cannot break through cultivation bottlenecks. If we raise their spiritual root quality first, breaking their barriers will come naturally. Our human race's overall strength will soar. Faced with this highly respected elder of humanity, the young Xian Yuan voiced dissent. We should send the young first. Elder Yuzo, forgive my frankness. Our people already have the immortal Penglai Wonderland, the yellow spring body-refining pool, and abundant spiritual plants and fruits bestowed by our God. If they still cannot advance despite such resources, does that not tell us something? Their paths are already largely closed. Wasting resources is one concern. What if we delay our God's grand plans? Chen Guang, Li Mulan, and other core human figures paled in shock. None expected Xian Yuan to invoke the authority of their God as an argument. He was being incredibly bold. Xian Yuan, your words hold some truth. Yet you must understand, sustaining a clan does not always mean concentrating resources solely on those most suited for them. Yuzo did not grow angry and explained patiently. These people fought and shed blood for our race and earned great merit. If we deny them this rare chance to improve their innate gifts, we will break their spirits. Why did soldiers trust him? Because he led them to victory, guaranteed food and warm clothing, compensated the fallen, and ensured proper rewards for triumphs. He held one more thought unspoken. From his long-term observations, while elders' physical vitality declined with age, their fundamental aptitude did not degrade drastically. Though still inferior to the younger generation, the gap was not unbridgeable. Elder Yuzo, Xian Yuan stepped forward, standing tall and unyielding. I honor those heroes who sacrificed for humanity, but most of them possess 5-element or 4-element spiritual roots. Refining those into heavenly spiritual roots would take far too long. According to our God's warning, a great war will arrive in 60 years. To maximize our strength, hard choices must be made. We ought to prioritize the young. Enough. Yuzo cut him off with uncompromising firmness. My decision is final. This discussion is closed. Pass down my order. Priority access to the spirit essence refining well shall go to those who earn the greatest merit across past battles. Veteran warriors receive precedence. This privilege may be used personally or passed to their descendants. Yes. The assembled figures acknowledged the command. Xian Yuan's face showed frustration, yet he bowed. Yes. Everything unfolding within the divine kingdom unfolded clearly before Lu Sheng's eyes. He merely observed, with no intention of intervening. Conflicts originating inside the divine kingdom ought to be resolved from within. Much like when Chen Guang executed members of the Elder Council and founded the World Assembly long ago, the divine kingdom would naturally evolve toward its most suitable state. The next day, at Linhai Elite High School's Academic Affairs office, when Lu Sheng arrived, 9 other students were already gathered, the top 10 participants from the large-scale school event. Good morning, Brother Lu. Lu Sheng, you were incredible during the event. None of us even came close to your totals. Brother Lu. Seeing Lu Sheng, the students in the office greeted him warmly. During the earlier simulated war rankings, elite high school students had merely recognized Lu Sheng's skill. After this grand competition, they saw the full magnitude of the gap between them. Lu Sheng might already stand among the monstrous talents from the provincial capital. A regular class student climbing this far. Is Lu Sheng the protagonist of some wish-fulfillment novel? One student wondered privately. Many present shared that thought. Lu Sheng, you are amazing. I wish I could have allied with you earlier. I would have gone far. Nangong Wenyao greeted him, eyes full of admiration. Congratulations, Nangong Wenxua said, her tone cool as ever. Luck, Lu Sheng almost uttered his usual modest line, but Feng Qingyang cut him off. Brother Lu, spare us the false modesty. Luck is the strong man's excuse. Where was that humility when you dominated the demon beast realm? Ha ha ha. When others say it is luck, I believe them. But hearing you say it feels like you were showing off. Exactly. When 30 sky-piercing warships appeared, I was completely stunned. Their banter left Lu Sheng slightly embarrassed. He scratched the tip of his nose to hide his awkwardness. It felt like showing off online only to get called out in real life, leaving him at a loss for words. Fortunately, Lu Sen arrived soon afterward. Well, quite a lively gathering. Without opening the door, he blinked into the room. With a wave of his sleeve, 10 ancient wooden boxes flew out and landed in each student's hands. They opened their boxes to reveal a fruit of deep cyan hue with translucent flesh resembling glass-crafted green apples. The moment the lids lifted, a rich fragrance flooded the entire office. This is the Azure Void fruit. The Education Bureau retrieved it from a secret realm on an extraterritorial battlefield. It is a divine artifact usable in the real world. It grants a small chance for false gods who have not grasped the law to gain direct comprehension of one. Those who already possess law comprehension can deepen their understanding further. All 10 boxes contain Azure Void fruits, yet quality varies by your competition rankings, so their effects differ accordingly. For your safety, consume them right here. A wave of astonishment swept through the room. Azure Void fruit. Grasping the power of law was notoriously difficult. Even geniuses of unmatched talent often became trapped at this hurdle. 4 false gods stuck because they could not comprehend a law. This fruit was a treasure worth risking their lives for. Among the 10 students present, aside from Lu Sheng, none had even touched the threshold of law comprehension. There are divine artifacts that function in reality. Lu Sheng stared at the fragrant fruit in his box, marveling silently. Compared with descendants of powerful divine clans, he, coming from a demigod household, felt rather inexperienced. He also pondered, if Divine Kingdom resources could be deployed, and real-world divine artifacts accelerated law comprehension for the descendants of mighty gods, just how rapidly could they grow? Linhai was only a prefecture-level city. Beyond it lay the provincial capital. Even Blue Star was merely one planet under the Great Xia dynasty. Lu Sheng's current perspective remained narrow. Perhaps some grew up eating Azure Void fruits. Perhaps some unlocked strength buildings the very day they opened their small worlds. Perhaps countless resources he had never laid eyes on were trivial luxuries for others. All of this is only the beginning. Lu Sheng drew a deep breath. The pride stirred by everyone's praise faded completely. He picked up the Azure Void fruit from its wooden box and bit into it. It dissolved instantly on his tongue, tasting wonderfully sweet. Buzz. 3 seconds after swallowing it, a strange sensation washed over him. He closed his eyes instinctively. A chill poured down over his crown. His consciousness exploded outward, and a green light flickered inside his mind. In that instant, Lu Sheng seemed to behold a flower. It withered and bloomed, faded and regained vivid radiance, the primal essence of the life law. His awareness soon returned to reality. His understanding of the life law had advanced by a large margin. Divine being, Lu Sheng, divine rank, false god, subject population, 10,011,312,761 fourth-order beings, 396, 412 third-order beings, for 1,158,300 second-order beings, for 1,394,801 first-order beings, 1,061,038 unranked beings. Attached beings, elementalist juvenile times 2, stonefolk, greystone goblins, laws, life law 2.7%, faith points, 75.034 billion. Before eating the fruit, his mastery of the life law had stood at merely 0.6%. The Azure Void fruit boosted it directly by 2.1%. At his ordinary rate of progress, that leap would have taken half a year. The improvement was tremendous. Boom, boom, boom. Simultaneously, 2 bursts of energy echoed inside the academic affairs office. Whirlwinds swirled around Feng Qingyang, while bulging veins surfaced across Nangong Wenya's right arm as powerful energy radiated outward. The law of wind and the law of strength. The remaining students failed, looks of dejection settling over their faces. How is this possible? I cannot believe I failed. Long Outyen let out a pained cry and collapsed to the floor. He looked as though he had aged 10 years in an instant. Lu Sheng watched with sympathy. Law comprehension was profoundly mysterious. Even Long Outyen, the most gifted among the other 9, had failed, while Feng Qingyang and Nangong Wenya, whose talents were thought inferior, had succeeded. Fate truly was unpredictable. 2 months remained before the National Higher Cultivation Examination. Elite High School switched to freeform study mode. Students could come to campus for sparring sessions or stay home to develop their inner worlds for final preparations. Everyone, over these final 2 months, set early warning measures while developing your small worlds. Forbid internal conflicts within your divine kingdoms, lest you weaken your divine realm's strength. A mock examination will be held at the end of this month. Pay attention to group chat notifications, Lei Wanjun reminded the class. Most students headed home. Lu Sheng lingered until an ordinary-looking boy appeared at the classroom doorway. "Brother Lu, let's go. My father booked the top-floor VIP suite at Star River Restaurant. You can bring your parents along." Zhao Mingjian draped an arm over his shoulder in his familiar, easygoing manner. He had changed his form of address from Brother Lu to Senior Lu. Yet Lu Sheng caught a strange scent on him. "What have you been doing? Did you put on perfume?" "Ah, Senior Lu, you are so harsh. I ran all the way over from class 100. Do you know how far that is?" "It is fine, though. I do not mind the trouble at all. Cut it out. I will tell your father about your odd behavior later. The Zhao family might have no heirs left because of this." "No, please don't, Senior Lu." Zhao Mingjian threw his hands up in surrender and smiled awkwardly. "I just started seeing a girl, you know. Don't tell my father. She is the daughter of our company's biggest rival." Chatting as they walked, they passed through security checks and arrived at the top-floor VIP suite of Star River Restaurant. Both sets of parents were already waiting inside. "Mom, Dad, Uncle, Auntie. Little Sheng, come in, take a seat." This was Lu Sheng's second meeting with Zhao Ding. The true god bore no trace of haughtiness and personally pulled out a chair for him. "Thank you, Uncle," Lu Sheng replied politely and sat down. As a rank 1 true god, Zhao Ding did not run his own faction. Instead, he worked as a core senior member of Hongxing Technology Group. Lu Sheng's father, Lu Tiansheng, was Zhao Ding's subordinate. They were superior and subordinate, old classmates, and bound by a debt of gratitude from a past rescue. Their families had stayed close over the years and often shared meals together. But Lu Sheng knew full well that this dinner, ostensibly a thank you gathering, was really Zhao Ding's ploy to build closer ties. Lu Sheng felt no resentment toward this. In fact, he thought it perfectly reasonable. Putting himself in Zhao Ding's shoes, he would have done exactly the same thing. For his part, Lu Sheng held Zhao Ding's whole family in high regard and even felt genuine gratitude toward them. Having lived 2 lives, he had seen far too many ungrateful people. Someone like Zhao Ding, who still looked out for old friends after achieving success, was truly rare. After the meal, Zhao Ding, who had drunk a couple of cups, suddenly spoke. "Xiao Sheng, what are your thoughts about university?" At those words, everyone at the table slowed their chopsticks. They knew the real point of the dinner had arrived. "Uncle Zhao, I have looked over the college entrance examination scores for all universities across the Great Xia over the years. With my current grades, I stand a strong chance of getting into one of the 3 top-tier universities," Lu Sheng replied after a moment's thought. Universities in Great Xia were divided into strict ranks: top tier, first tier, second tier, and third tier. There was an enormous gap between them in terms of access to authority, resource allocation, and even social standing. In this world, students from top-tier universities enjoyed immense advantages over those from first-tier institutions. Naturally, admission to top-tier universities came with brutal requirements. Each province was granted only a tiny number of spots. Even after enrollment, students who failed to meet standards would be expelled. "Just as I expected," Zhao Ding nodded, then raised another question. "Xiao Sheng, have you heard of Fangtian University on our Blue Star?" "I have," Lu Sheng nodded. As Blue Star's sole first-tier university, it has stood for thousands of years. It boasts extraordinary resources, heritage, and faculty, ranking high among all first-tier universities. It was once among my target schools. "Uncle Zhao, why do you ask?" Impressive as Fangtian University was, it was no longer on Lu Sheng's list, now that his own power had surged. Lu Tiansheng and Wang Ming also turned toward Zhao Ding. He would not bring up this subject without good reason. Something important was coming. "Since we are all among trusted company, I will speak plainly. Fangtian University cannot compare to those 3 top-tier universities by even 1/1000th. Even so, it remains Great Xia's finest first-tier university, drawing monstrously talented individuals from countless planets, every single one an outstanding figure. For all its abundant resources, when divided among every student, each individual's share is not especially large. But Fangtian University is different. It has carried out major reforms in recent intakes. It intends to concentrate its resources to heavily cultivate a small group of standout students to serve as its public face. With your natural talent and your status as a native of Blue Star, you would undoubtedly receive one of these spots. The resources available to you could be dozens or even hundreds of times greater than what ordinary students get. When he finished speaking, everyone present was shocked. This was huge news. Lu Tianxing could not help pressing for confirmation. Brother Zhao, is this really true? Better to be the head of a chicken than the tail of a phoenix. Though Fengtian University fell short of top-tier schools, receiving its full-blown focused support would clearly beat being an average student at a top-tier university. Absolutely true. Afraid of being misunderstood, Zhao Ding went on after a short pause. Of course, I am merely passing along insider information. Whether you actually apply to Fengtian University after the college entrance examination is entirely your decision, Xiaosheng. Privately, he hoped Lu Sheng would enroll. Zhao Mingjian himself planned to apply to Fengtian University. If the two attended together, their bond would only grow stronger. Still, he would never harm an old friend's son out of self-interest. The benefits Fengtian University offered were genuine. Lu Tianxing and Wang Ning were uncertain what to make of it. Both turned to Lu Sheng, waiting for his opinion. To everyone's surprise, Lu Sheng gave his answer without hesitation, even though the choice weighed heavily on them. I am sorry, Uncle Zhao. Aside from those 3 top-tier universities, no other schools are under consideration for me. Zhao Ding had not expected such an immediate refusal. Xiaosheng, you may not fully grasp what focused cultivation means. Institutional planners, private secret realms, strategic, grade buildings, even resource-rich planets would open their doors for you. Even as an ordinary student at a top-tier university, you would struggle to gain access to such resources. I understand. But what makes you so certain I cannot rise through the ranks even within a top-tier university? Lu Sheng smiled faintly. The saying, better to be the head of a chicken than the tail of a phoenix, held merit. But one must not forget, Lu Sheng was a late, blooming powerhouse. He might be at the bottom of the pack for now, but that would not always be the case. If the Lord of Terms stirred even slightly, without requiring exceptionally rare terms, the growth rate of his divine kingdom would multiply exponentially. Truth be told, when he heard Fengtian University intended to invest heavily in showcase students with resources dozens or hundreds of times normal levels, Lu Sheng felt a flicker of temptation. Yet Fengtian University possessed a hard ceiling. Once he truly rose to prominence, its resources would inevitably fall short of his needs. There was another critical factor. If the university gambled on him, it would not do so without expecting something in return. He might be forced to constantly take part in challenges to bring prestige to the school. That would waste his time and draw unwanted trouble. With the Lord of Terms in his grasp, Lu Sheng saw no reason to chase short-term gains and collect potential enemies. It is good to see such confidence, Xiaosheng. Everyone follows their own aspirations. I shall press you no further, Zhao Ding said. He fell silent for a moment before offering genuine praise and draining his cup of wine in one gulp. That's right, son. Your mother and I support you. Wang Ning pumped her fist in encouragement. Once the dinner ended, Zhao Mingjian caught up with Lu Sheng and pressed a card into his hand. Brother Lu, words cannot say enough. You helped me so much during that school event, letting me claim the A-grade building Sunspring. Combined with Crescent Cove, the Merman's development speed has nearly doubled. There are 100 billion faith points on this card. My father insisted you take it, or I would be in for trouble. 100 billion faith points meant little to Lu Sheng. It was not even enough to cover half a month's worth of spirit stone consumption for the spirit essence refining well. Still, this was a sincere gesture from Uncle Zhao. Turning it down would only cause awkwardness. Very well. Work hard and aim for excellent results in the college entrance examination. Lu Sheng accepted the card and clapped Zhao Mingjian on the shoulder. Good luck on the college entrance examination. Back home, Lu Sheng said about developing his miniature world. First, he tallied up his income. With 300,000 stone people working 23 hours each day, the mid-tier spirit stone vein produced 300,000 raw standard spirit stones every 10 years. These were only raw spirit stones, though. To become usable spirit stones, they required polishing by rock goblins. Unpolished stones sold for half price. Polishing raw spirit stones was difficult. Fortunately, buffs from the multitude of races boosted the rock goblins of Ashrock City, greatly improving their craftsmanship. Refining 300,000 raw spirit stones took an additional 5 years. In other words, 300,000 finished spirit stones, generating 300 billion in revenue, were produced over 15 years. translated to real, world time, that amounted to 600 billion every single month. Even running the spirit essence refining well at minimum power, he still had a surplus of 300 billion faith points. Ocean, grown black iron sea vine was harvested 4 times monthly, yielding 30 billion profit each harvest, 120 billion per month. As for milk, bamboo earnings, after purchasing the grade spirit essence refining well, Lu Sheng retained 2.938 billion points. He spent all of them purchasing spirit herb gardens. Added to his original 3, there were now 10 spirit herb gardens south of Blackrock City, all planted with milk, bamboo, for a total of 4,000 stalks. Under 20-fold time acceleration, once all young bamboo matured, they would bring in 240 billion faith points monthly. Add to that the minimum 300 billion monthly from the 9-layer pill pagoda, plus miscellaneous industries such as low-grade weapons forged from fine iron ore. During peacetime, Lu Sheng's net monthly income reached an astonishing 100 billion faith points. That was equivalent to 100 times the combined earnings of Lu Tianxing and Wang Ning. I can raise the spirit essence refining well's output moderately. Lu Sheng issued divine edicts, pouring more spirit stones into the facility. He had run tests before. Full power operation consumed 100 billion faith points per day. Even with his new wealth, he could only safely run it at half capacity at most. Since many other projects still required funding, he avoided maxing it out and settled for 1/3 output. At current rates, dual spirit root cultivators can refine their roots to heavenly spirit root quality in 20 years. Triple spirit root cultivators take 30 years, quadruple spirit root 50 years, and 5 spirit root cultivators 100 years. Lu Sheng observed his miniature world. The first group admitted to the spirit essence refining well included Yuzhou, Li Mulan, and numerous elders over 100 years old stuck at the 3rd order peak bottleneck. Some young people were selected as well. Certain elders, knowing they could advance no further, yielded their precious spots to their descendants. At this pace, Li Mulan might well be the first to break through to the 5th order. Lu Sheng stroked his chin. Tribal subject, Li Mulan race, human gender, female age, 141 years old spirit roots, water, wood, earth triple spirit roots cultivation art, cloud sea immortal record realm, nascent soul layer 7. Talent, blood, talisman physique active. Burn one's own lifeblood to forcibly raise talisman, crafting mastery. Burn lifespan to boost talisman grade. Passive, talisman, crafting talent increased by 100%. 60 years of great wars had nurtured the first generation of immortal seedlings. The divine kingdom now boasted many nascent soul true lords, yet Li Mulan remained its sole late stage nascent soul grand cultivator. Lu Sheng had once expected Yu Xiaoman, Xian Yuan, and other heavenly spirit root prodigies to overtake her. With the spirit essence refining well in operation, however, that outcome was no longer certain. Year 181 of the miniature world. The divine kingdom's population stabilized. Warned by divine edicts, all inhabitants threw themselves into strengthening their own power. The first cohort from the Myriad Arts Academy graduated. Talents of every description streamed into the 7 great cities. Among them, formation masters became exceptionally sought after. The formations they inscribed were not massive army formations requiring hundreds of thousands of soldiers. Instead, they were immortal formations etched onto weapons, clothing, or even the land itself. Immortal cultivators grew substantially stronger. As civilization advanced, people also grew more concerned with privacy. Households began installing formations in their homes to ward off unwanted observation. Xian Yuan gathered a cohort of high-rank formation masters and began erecting Grand City, protecting formations around Star City, Heavenly Qilan City, and Heavenly Gate City. Year 184 of the miniature world. Lu Sheng awakened an A-grade term, Gung Metal Physique. Gung Metal Physique. Power of all metal attribute spells increased by 50%. Metal attribute cultivation speed plus 100%. Mastery over metal type weapons increased by 100%. Year 187 of the miniature world. A serious incident unfolded. Nourished by spiritual energy and transformed by terms such as innate wisdom and natural cleverness, the stone people grew dissatisfied with their work regime. 23-hour workdays, no rest throughout the year. Led by a group of 3rd order stone people, they went on a collective strike. Lu Sheng woke early in the real world and performed his routine check on the miniature world. He immediately spotted empty mine mountain tunnels and human overseers lying unconscious nearby. He snapped, fully alert. Spirit, stone mines represented his divine kingdom's single largest industry. Every single day they produced spirit, stone, or worth 20 billion. This was critical. The Black Tortoise crystal mine was equally vital, supplying the only source of materials for high-grade weapon forging. Weapons were consumables. After 60 long years of war waged by his subjects against the demon, beast world, most armaments had been worn down. The college entrance examination was only 2 months away. He urgently needed materials for forging, and now there was a strike. This is outrageous. Rare traces of anger showed on Lu Sheng's face. He had expected boosted efficiency as stone people gained intelligence through term buffs. Their productivity had indeed risen, yet fresh troubles had followed. Lu Sheng shifted his consciousness above Yuzhou, ready to discipline the striking stone people. He found Yuzhou already aware of the strike and presiding over a meeting to work out solutions. Miniature World, Blazing City, City Lord's Manor. The Grand Hall was packed with key figures of Blazing City. Seated in the main position was Yuzhou, or rather, a golem puppet he controlled. Yuzhou's true self resided within the spirit essence, refining his spirit roots, and unable to attend in person. Everyone, what proposals do you have regarding the stone people's collective strike? Yuzhou asked. These lowly stone people were born to serve humanity as laborers. Now they dare to bite the hand that feeds them. How insolent. An elder of the nascent soul stage snorted, speaking with blatant racial prejudice towards stone people. Many others in the room echoed his sentiment. Agreed. Stone people are mere low-born labor. Even evolved to third order, killing their leaders is no great loss. Restore production quickly. The previous overseers simply lacked sufficient strength. We have no ongoing wars right now. Send troops to suppress them. Anyone who resists dies. Then what stone person would dare disobey? Still, not everyone advocated brute force suppression. Some voiced milder ideas. Lord Yuzhou, the stone people merely demand cutting workdays from 23 hours to 20. Their request is not unreasonable. Why not grant it? Qin Guang proposed. His suggestion met immediate pushback. Compromising with stone people struck them as humiliating. Qin Guang, that approach will not work. Yuzhou rejected the idea. Human desires are like boulders rolling down mountains. Once you give way, they never stop. If we reduce shifts to 20 hours today, tomorrow they will demand 19, then 18. I have observed that spiritual energy transformation has granted these stone people intelligence comparable to humans. Creatures such as these will never grow tired of more rest. I see my mistake. Qin Guang bowed, abashed, and fell silent. The rest of the assembly looked pleased, yet Yuzhou poured cold water over them. Your proposals fare no better. Violent suppression will only breed resentment and hatred. Execute this batch of ringleaders, and new ones will emerge. Must we exterminate every stone person and send humans to mine in their place? Who among you will bear responsibility for delaying our God's grand plans? No one could answer. Though individually unremarkable, stone people possessed natural superhuman strength and unique physical bodies. Their mining output far outstripped other races. A single first-order stone person equaled 7 or 8 first-order human warriors. Now, with awakened intelligence, their productivity would be even higher. High above the miniature world, 10,000 meters in the sky, Lu Sheng sank into thought. Stone people were cheap to purchase. Even 300,000 of them would cost him practically nothing. Yet stone people bought from the store were entirely different from those born and raised for generations inside his miniature world. Purchased stone people held very low faith toward him and received far fewer term bonuses. 10 of them could not match one of his native stone people. His miniature world remained limited in size. Too many living beings would squeeze humanity's living space and slow human progress. So what will you do? Lu Sheng looked down, watching with anticipation. Inside the miniature world, after gathering diverse viewpoints, Yuzhou finalized his response and laid out his plan. The stone people strike for freedom and rest. Qin Guang, take men to the northern mountain range. First secure the strike leaders. Tell the rest of the stone people we will not shorten their work hours, but serve faithfully for 10 full years, and afterward they will never have to work again. Qin Guang frowned. Truly grant them freedom after 10 years? Of course not. Yuzhou gave a cold smile. Do you know that when stone people perish, they do not vanish outright? Their bodies break apart and spawn new young stone people. Qin Guang's heart jolted, and he vaguely guessed what was going on. Yuzhou continued speaking. But at the same time, when a stone person breaks down into smaller stone people, they lose all their original memories and become brand new independent living beings. Once they finish 10 full years of labor, we can directly take them away and reduce them into small stone people, then send those small stone people back. 10 years is more than enough time for them to grow up, creating a self-sustaining cycle. As for the controlled high-rank stone people, we will use them to spread ideas among the rest of the stone folk. The belief that hard work for 10 years will earn them freedom will take deep root in every stone person's mind. We can even tap into their strong sense of solidarity. If any mining zone digs all the way through, we can grant freedom to every stone person in that region as a reward, with hope dangling before them. And for the sake of their friends and kin, they will push themselves to work hard without any overseers needed. When he finished speaking, everyone present admired Yuzo's scheme and burst into applause. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Lord Yuzo is truly resourceful, worthy of his long-standing experience. Let's carry this out. The plan was quickly put into effect. When the stone people striking in the northern realm mineral veins heard the news, they cheered, convinced their rebellion had won them victory. Over the following months, mining output rose noticeably. Even stone people who perished mid-labor believed they had made great sacrifices for their kin. Smiles lingered on their faces as they drew their last breaths. Work till our very last breath. Build a bright future for all stone folk. Keep pushing, dig through your veins, and claim our long-awaited freedom. The conflict between stone people and humans was effortlessly resolved. The Greystone Goblin kin cared only for forging. As skilled technical specialists, they contributed far more than the stone people. Lu Sheng also lightened their workload, so their lives remained comfortable. Even after gaining full sentience, they were content with their circumstances and held no thoughts of rebellion. Within the small world, every race grew stable. The intelligent being Xiao AI bought and sold surplus resources, preventing stockpiles from piling up. By this point, body-refining elixirs, spirit stone milk, and various cultivation-boosting medicines had become standard supplies for all residents of the God Realm. Citizens of high status and decent aptitude earned access to precious cultivation sites, the Yellow Spring body-tempering pool, and Penglai Fairyland. As for the spirit essence refining well, only those of extraordinary merit who had rendered outstanding service to the God Realm could enter. It held the realm's most vital top-tier resources. The Grand Wonder Grand Academy of 10,000 Arts kept producing talented alchemists, artifact smiths, formation masters, puppet crafters, and countless other technical experts. They strengthened the human army and improved daily life across the realm, steadily lifting people's quality of life. Elixirs and cultivation techniques were abundant. Thanks to the all things growth trait accelerating crop development, spirit rice ripened 10 times each year. Even with a population of 10 million in the God Realm, grain supplies remained plentiful. For meat supplies, Lu Sheng acquired 10 more meat feast groves. Nurtured by high-quality environments, every citizen enjoyed meat of at least second-order quality each day. Apart from the spirit essence refining well, Lu Sheng had pushed resource allocation for his subjects nearly to its absolute limit. The 191st year of the small world. Record. Dense spiritual energy within your small world has spontaneously spawned 6 branch constructions, spirit eye springs. Lu Sheng extended his consciousness into the small world. Near Starsky City, 6 springs spanning hundreds of zhang had materialized out of thin air, continuously gushing spiritual energy. Of course, boosted by tenfold spirit energy and spiritual energy revival. This extra energy was negligible on a worldwide scale. It was roughly equivalent to a single person spitting into the Pacific Ocean. By the 209th year of the small world, population growth stayed modest due to limited land area. Yet, that was a minor concern. After more than half a month of development and numerous beneficial new traits, the God Realm's power surged forward once more. God. Lu Sheng Godhood. False God Small World Area. 330,000 square kilometers terrain, dominated by plains, hills, mountains, and oceans. Subject race, humans. Kinfolk. Elemental beings 21 juveniles, stone people, greystone goblins 1/4 order, 3rd order count omitted. Laws, life law 2. 9%. Innate traits, rank. Master of traits S rank. Spiritual energy revival rank. Netherrealm domain, tenfold spirit energy, infrastructure maniac, berserker physique, divine artisan, formation master, 10,000 races thriving, mutation power. A rank. Harmony with all woods, master of all weapons, gunmetal physique, beast tamer, all things growth, innate spirit physique, peace and prosperity, purification, vigorous old age. Rank. Diamond indestructibility, soul mastery, flame immunity, pinpoint accuracy, toxin immunity, freedom from illness, God-given strength, enlightened comprehension, danger premonition, dauntless battle-hardened will, counter-armor. Crank, fertile homeland, civilization acceleration, innate past-life wisdom, grow stronger in battle, clairvoyance, steel tendon bone, enhanced vitality, swift-footed, underwater respiration, iron teeth and bronze jaws, steadfast mind. Drank, natural intelligence, team synergy, battle frenzy, water element affinity. Rapid self-healing, metal element affinity, environmental adaptability. Irank, iron backbone, night vision, accelerated fertility, beast speech mastery, eagle eyes, enhanced shoulder strength, forest hunter, iron lungs, bronze throat, enhanced grip, longevity, battlerage, well-ordered. Frank, pathfinding, keen smell, heat resistance, empathetic ears, reduced stamina consumption, sharp senses, hunger resistance, armor piercing, accelerated metabolism, rapid excavation, robust health, carpenter's knack, cold resistance, faster digestion. Cultivation methods: Juicien sword formation perfection, Fortivine beast formation perfection, Brank wither bloom eternal art, Brank earth stabilizing art, Brank northern mystic ice soul art, Brank burning fire technique. Constructions: Srank, spirit essence refining well, spirit plant elemental divine, tree 1,000-year-old rank. 9-year alchemy pagoda times 1, martial training ground times 1 Brank. Spirit eye, spring times 10, spirit herb garden times 10. 100 skill workshop times 21, meat feast grove times 20. Crank, library times 20, waste conversion pool times 100, grain granary times 100 wonders, Punglai fairyland times 1, yellow spring body tempering pool times 1, Grand Academy of 10,000 arts times 1. Assets: medium-sized spirit stone, vein times 1, Brank black tortoise crystal, vein times 1, Irank fine iron vein times 1, Brank spirit plant stone milk bamboo times 4,000, Drank spirit plant mysterious special C, vine times 3, 000, large-scale spatial ring times 10, Brank grade weapons times 519, 530. Third order golden feather thunder eagles times 2,000, third order mysterious water dragon whales times 200, second order silver bone flying fish times 100, 000, second order night griffins times 691, 600 faith points. 3.5039 billion subjects generate 1 million faith points daily. Many highly practical new traits had appeared this month. Take the newly unlocked Srank trait mutation power. By expending faith points, Lu Sheng could trigger mutations for any species inside the small world. Mutations could turn out beneficial or harmful. Lu Sheng ran experiments using stone people as test subjects. Roughly 60 out of 100 stone people suffered harmful mutations. 20 showed no notable change. 10 died from failed mutation, and only 10 obtained positive mutations. The odds of favorable mutation stood at merely 1 in 10. Mutations might enlarge certain body parts to boost physical strength, sprout extra arms to create 8-armed stone people, or alter their mineral composition to turn ordinary rock into obsidian. Lu Sheng could apply mutation power repeatedly for secondary, tertiary, and further rounds of mutation. Given enough test subjects, powerful, heavily mutated combat creatures would inevitably emerge. Sufficient resources might one day allow him to raise an entire mutated combat legion. Naturally, Lu Sheng would never inflict mutation experiments upon his human subjects. He only risked beasts and expendable kinfolk, such as the stone people. Then there was the Irank trait harmony with all woods. His subjects mastered plant affinity arts far faster, easily sensed the state of surrounding flora, and could even perceive plant life impulses. A rank master of all weapons, they wielded every form of armament instinctively without tedious practice, striking with amplified destructive power. Brank diamond indestructibility conjured an invincible golden body to drastically raise defensive capabilities. Brank danger premonition. Subjects sensed hostile or friendly intent from living beings and occasionally foresaw incoming threats. Crank environmental adaptability. They adjusted instantly to unfamiliar surroundings, immune to environment-inflicted discomfort or illness. Traits such as pathfinding, keen smell, heat resistance, empathetic ears, enhanced shoulder strength, forest hunter, iron lungs, bronze throat, and more. Though each Irank and Frank trait offered modest individual bonuses, stacked together, they multiplied the army's combat effectiveness across all terrains more than tenfold. Add to that over 1,000 fourth-order powerhouses, millions of well-trained, fearless troops, perfected grand formations, the death throes buff from berserker physique, sky-floating giant warships, and tamed spirit beasts. Even Lu Sheng himself could not gauge exactly how mighty his forces had grown. His only complaint was the sheer, overwhelming quantity of innate traits. Keeping track of them all proved troublesome. A pleasant kind of trouble. Still, no one has broken through to fifth order, Lu Sheng murmured in slight disappointment. 30 years of cultivation had produced 4 nascent soul latest-stage experts: Yu Xiaoman, Xin Yuan, Li Mulan, and the White Deer City Lord. Thanks to heavy investments into the spirit essence refining well, Li Mulan's spirit root had advanced to supreme grade would attribute. Her cultivation speed rocketed, pushing her all the way to nascent soul great completion. Yet she still could not cross that critical threshold. The rare strategic materials needed to lift subjects from 4th order into 5th order life ranks, much like Azure Sky Fruit, could not be purchased anywhere. Lu Sheng had no simple solution. Tomorrow brings the simulation examination. Time to test my strength in the war simulator. Lu Sheng swept his hand, and a blue-white leaderboard unfolded before his eyes. Jiangnan Province Elite Student Rankings Rank 1. Huiyuan Points. 6162 Win Rate. 53.7% Rank 2. Xiaobing Points. 5999 Win Rate. 51.1% Rank 8319. Lu Sheng Points. 2379 Win Rate. 99.7%. Rank 9999. Feng Qingyang Points. 1441 Win Rate. 50.1% Rank 10097. Long Outyin Points. 1407 Win Rate. 50.3%. 3 months had passed. Lu Sheng's ranking had dropped more than 2,000 positions, yet he remained number 1 at Linhai Elite High School. Meanwhile, Long Outyin's rank had fallen, overtaken by Feng Qingyang. I wonder if I can break into the provincial top 100 this time, Lu Sheng muttered, then entered the virtual battlefield. Verifying identity verification complete. Citizen Lu Sheng, you have entered the false god zone. Initiate matching? Lu Sheng replied directly, yes. Searching for well-matched opponent match successful. Random scenario, open plains. Both sides received 60-second preparation time. Countdown. 59, 58, 57. As the virtual battlefield materialized, Lu Sheng beheld his foe's host. Also human. 34th Order warriors, 100,000 Third Order troops, 200,000 Second Order troops, 300,000 First Order troops. Every soldier bore at least crank weaponry. A decent force for the false god tier. Against Lu Sheng, however, they looked pitifully weak. He waved his hand and summoned his own army. 1,716 Fourth Order beings, 700,000 Third Order troops, 4 million Second Order troops, 5 million First Order troops. Nearly 10 million fighting units in total. Every soldier carried crank or superior gear. Elite 3rd and 4th Order fighters wielded brank weapons. Among his ranks were 500,000 disciplined griffin-mounted archers. Their black turquoise crystal arrows bore densely inscribed runic formations, razor-sharp. 30 giant sky warships surged forward. Spirit energy cannons whirred to full power, terrifying spiritual pressure rippling outward, fully primed. Before fighting even began, the outcome was obvious. Lu Sheng observed the towering divine figure far away. The moment Lu Sheng deployed his full army, the opposing deity visibly trembled. Battle commenced. The artificial intelligence's voice faded. Lu Sheng gestured, and the 30 hovering sky warships unleashed their fully charged cannon salvos without hesitation. Boom, boom, boom. In a single exchange, the enemy army suffered catastrophic losses. All high-ranking combatants perished, leaving only a handful of survivors huddled amid raging spiritual energy storms. Roar! Night griffins screamed high overhead. A deluge of arrows descended, wiping out every last straggler. The entire battle concluded in merely 3 breaths of virtual time. Battle concluded. Citizen Lu Sheng of Great Xia claims victory. Points +1. Current total, 2780. Win rate, 99.7%. Rematch? Continue, Lu Sheng said without hesitation. 3 months prior, a system-inflicted handicap had cost him 1 defeat. That single loss did not reflect his true strength for this division. With a 99.7% win rate, he could easily climb several hundred points higher. After 3 months of Godrealm development, and nearly 100 brand new traits unlocked by Master of Traits, Lu Sheng's power had multiplied dozens-fold. Fighting opponents in this bracket felt like bombarding mosquitoes with heavy artillery. Victory came effortlessly. Battle concluded. Citizen Lu Sheng wins. Points +1. Battle concluded. Points +10. Battle concluded. Points +20 in every match. Very few foes survived the initial spirit cannon bombardment. and those who did were swiftly erased by the Griffin archer's arrow storms. His points rocketed upward at astonishing speed. 3,000 points, 4,000 points, 5,000 points, 5,500 points. When his score hit 5810, Lu Sheng rocketed from over 8,000th place straight into the provincial top 100. Such dramatic ranking shifts drew the school's attention. Back at Linhai Elite High School, the supervising male officer returned from a restroom break to see the monitoring AI flash red alerts. He hurried to check the data. Lu Sheng, the student Principal Lu had ordered him to watch closely, was surging through the rankings and had just broken into the provincial top 100. Holy hell, this kid is monstrous. I have to report this straight to Principal Lu. Match successful. Random scenario. Endless desert. The scenery shifted abruptly. Both armies materialized across parched desert wastes. The sun blazed overhead. Sweltering heat distorted the air above the dunes. Thanks to heat resistance and environmental adaptability, Lu Sheng's troops suffered zero ill effects. By contrast, the opposing human army's soldiers sweated profusely, even standing idle, stamina rapidly draining. Once combat erupted, strenuous exertion would drain their strength still faster, crippling their combat performance and endurance. Lu Sheng held a massive invisible advantage before the first blow was struck. This illustrated a core truth of Godrealm warfare. Attackers operated at a natural disadvantage. Invading inside another deity's small world meant fighting within an environment perfectly adapted for the defender's subjects, not for foreign invaders. Battle commenced. Troops clashed at once. As Lu Sheng's win streak lengthened, rising points brought stronger adversaries. His current foe fielded 500,000 soldiers, 500 fourth-order casters, 200,000 third-order troops, and the rest second-order fighters. These human subjects followed the rare magic path instead of the common martial, cultivation, or mechanical systems. Spotting Lu Sheng's 30 sky warships, enemy magicians lifted their staves the instant hostilities opened. A continent-spanning magical barrier burst forth, enveloping their entire host. The next instant, boom, 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 210 spirit cannon rounds slammed into the barrier. Brilliant white light exploded, spiderweb cracks spreading all across its surface. The barrier shook violently, on the verge of shattering. Behind the shield, nearly 100,000 magicians paled, barely holding the defense. Support mages channeled green light to replenish frontline spellcasters' mana reserves. Before mana recovery finished, a tidal wave of Black Turtoisa crystal arrows zeroed in on the barrier's fractured weak points. Boosted by pinpoint accuracy, eagle eyes, clairvoyance, and enhanced grip, the Griffin archers concentrated fire onto one narrow spot. They tore open a rent in the failing barrier. Uft, uft. Arrows streamed inward, piercing magicians' vital organs and felling countless casters. That was not all. Some magicians dodged incoming shafts, yet detonation runes inscribed inside the arrows triggered midair, exploding repeatedly behind the barrier. Crack! Fully recharged sky warships prepared for a second volley. Now, seeing imminent defeat, the opposing deity waved his hand. A fireball spanning over 1,000 meters bloomed high above the virtual battlefield, crashing down toward Lu Sheng's army. Fire law? Please don't let him comprehend laws. Please don't. On a distant planet, a man watched anxiously, praying frantically. His Majeficist army was vastly outmatched by Lu Sheng's multifaceted forces. Their only hope lay in his mastery of fire law. If the enemy also wielded law power, defeat would be certain. He needed merely one more victory for a large point bonus. He hated the thought of losing. To his immense relief, Lu Sheng appeared to wield no law power at all, simply watching the fireball descend. Yes, the man exhaled, only to freeze completely at what unfolded next. That cataclysmic fireball, forged from the enemy deity's very source power, large enough to obliterate half a city, detonated amid Lu Sheng's ranks, yet only inflicted a few thousand casualties. Your fire law is reasonably well honed. Pity, though, Lu Sheng smiled calmly. My subjects possess flame immunity. Rank trait, flame immunity. This isn't cheating. Watching the fireball he had forged by expending all his primordial power do absolutely nothing, the man completely lost his cool and chose to concede defeat. Brother, what's wrong? You lost a round in the war simulator. Don't shout like that. You're disturbing my show watching. The room door swung open. A girl stood in the doorway, hands on her hips, staring at the man inside with a look of disdain. Sigh, you wouldn't understand. I ran into someone way stronger than me in low-rank matches, the man sighed. If you lose, just practice more. Don't go on about overpowered opponents. You might as well say they're hacking. Battle concluded. Lu Sheng, citizen of Great Xia, is victorious. Plus 20 points. Current total points, 5860. Win rate, 99.8%. Proceed to next match? On the other side, Lu Sheng, the one behind all this, paid no mind to the previous fight and immediately queued up again. Match found. Virtual battlefield generated. Random scenario, Abyssal Sea. Countdown commencing. Battle start. When the virtual battlefield materialized and he laid eyes on the opposing army, Lu Sheng finally grew mildly interested. 500 fourth-order beings, 200,000 third-order beings, 500,000 second-order beings on the outside, and 1 million first-order beings. They were of the undead race, and every single one was equipped with grade weaponry. Even with a grade black tortoise crystal mine, countless stone people working day and night mining, and hundreds of thousands of greystone goblins of second and third order forging nonstop. Only his elite troops could afford grade weapons. Yet this opponent gave grade weapons even to their weakest first-order units. Though first-order beings could not unleash the full power of grade gear, such equipment still outmatched grade and grade weapons in combat. Most importantly, behind the massive undead host floated 100 semi-transparent dark green great ships pieced together from countless bones. Grade war weapon, ghost ship. Clearly, this opponent was incredibly resource-rich. I've won too many matches. The system is ramping up the difficulty for me again, huh? Lu Sheng thought to himself. Still, this was fine. If he could overcome this hurdle, his points would surge even faster. The foe boasted strong subjects, top-tier equipment, and powerful war machines. Most fighters at this rating would get crushed facing such a force. Unfortunately for them, they were up against Lu Sheng. Battle commence. Charge. The 100 eerie ghost ships surged forward first. Their nether vortex cannons locked onto the human army and unleashed barrages of fire. 30 sky-piercing battleships packed formidable firepower of their own, but they were vastly outnumbered. They were quickly suppressed, their spirit energy barriers trembling violently. Yet Yuzo showed no trace of panic on his face. Unlike the battles waged in the endless sea before, Lu Sheng's army now possessed full open-ocean combat capabilities. Boom, boom, boom. 200 Blackwater dragon whales were deployed into the sea. They formed a massive platform for warriors and low-rank cultivators, sparing them from exhausting their stamina and spirit energy. All water attribute cultivators, cast water-binding art. Yuzo ordered. The next instant, hundreds of thousands of cultivators chanted their spells. Streaks of spiritual energy slammed into the sea surface, calming the churning waves. Xiaoman. Yuzo gestured toward Xiaoman. Northern Mystic Ice Soul. Xiaoman waved her hand sharply. A bloom of ice burst open across the water, spreading outward like a plague. In but a single breath, a hundredly stretch of ocean was frozen solid. Blessed with top-tier cultivation resources plus trait bonuses such as enlightened comprehension and innate brilliance, Xiaoman had made staggering progress with the grade skill Northern Mystic Ice Soul art. The moment she advanced to Nascent Soul Realm, she had mastered the art and forged the Northern Mystic Ice Soul physique. With a gesture, she could freeze a hundredly expanse. The mana-reinforced ice was extraordinarily sturdy. Only third-order power could shatter it, offering solid footing for human soldiers to wage battle. Up front, even though the sky-piercing battleships were temporarily outgunned, 500,000 Griffin riders closed the gap. Volleys of grade black tortoise crystal arrows rained down. A single barrage sank several ghost ships and slew tens of thousands of undead soldiers. Soon, the main armies clashed. Kill. A human spirit warrior stepped forth and struck down with his blade against a scythe-wielding third-order undead warrior. A visible shockwave rippled out on impact. In the next moment, the undead warrior's countenance twisted. Crack, its weapon-holding arm bent and snapped under the overwhelming force. The human spirit warrior followed with a punch, blowing the undead foe apart. Though both were third-order beings, the undead warrior could not withstand the human warrior for even 3 breaths. Having slain his equal-rank foe, the spirit warrior fearlessly dove into the undead horde. His blade flashed, felling enemies with every strike, weaving through the ranks. Yet he was not flawless. Hiss! A third-order undead warrior seized an opening. A palm steeped in venom slammed into the spirit warrior's body, sending him staggering backward. The human warrior recovered instantly and lashed out with a roundhouse kick. The ambushing undead creature exploded into green mist. As it perished, a triumphant grin crossed its face. You've been poisoned by my undead venom. You'll see. Huh? Why is nothing happening? In its final flicker of consciousness, it watched the human merely glance at the wound before plunging back into slaughtering its kin, completely unharmed. How could this be? This venom had festered inside me for 30 years. Even a fourth-order expert would suffer severe damage upon being struck. What went wrong? Scenes like this played out across the entire Abyssal Sea battlefield. Against foes of equal rank, human soldiers held overwhelming superiority. Fighting 10 enemies at once was commonplace. Genius cultivators such as Xin Yuan, blessed with metal-origin physique and masterful metal affinity spells, could easily overpower groups of fourth-order undead monarchs. When gravely wounded, they could unleash strength far exceeding their normal limits. Plagued by both numerical and qualitative disadvantages, the undead army only gained the upper hand briefly during the initial ghost ship bombardment. After that, they were steadily pushed back. The fight devolved into a one-sided massacre. Even when the enemy unleashed their power of laws, they only shifted their casualty ratio from 30 undead per human kill to 25 per human kill. Watching this unfold, the undead god running the simulation mentally complained, "Did I get matched with some wealthy scion here? How can human subjects be this strong at this stage? How many grade buildings must he have unlocked?" A line of verse echoed in his mind, unbidden. "I ask of the heavenly palace, when shall we meet again?" Confounded rich kid. Battle concluded. Lu Sheng, citizen of Great Xia, is victorious. Plus 30 points. Current total points, 5890. Win rate, 99.8%. Proceed to next match? Continue. Lu Sheng called out casually. This was nothing. Even against that vastly overpowered undead host, his forces had won handily, sustaining less than 10% casualties. It seems my goals were set too low. Lu Sheng stroked his chin, battle fire burning in his eyes. What was top 100 on the elite leaderboard? He aimed for first place. Battle concluded, Lu Sheng victory. Plus 30 points battle concluded, plus 30 points victory. 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 Each match grew drastically more challenging, yet Lu Sheng maintained his win streak. Before long, he overtook Hui Yuan, the former rank 1 holder. Jiangnan Provincial Elite Student Leaderboard rank 1. Lu Sheng points, 6190 win rate, 99.8%. Rank 2. Hui Yuan points, 6162 win rate, 53.7%. Rank 3. Xiaobing points, 5999 win rate, 51.1%. That was surprisingly easy. Are the top talents of this provincial capital really this mediocre? Lu Sheng curled his lip. It seemed there were no grade B heavenly prodigies among this year's cohort in Jiangnan province. Otherwise, bolstered by provincial capital resources, their scores would never trail so far behind his. Even after his latest fight, his troop losses stood at only 40%. He still had plenty of room to climb. Judging by Hui Yuan's win rate, he could gain at most a few hundred more points before the national exam. Claiming first place on the Jiangnan Provincial Elite Student Leaderboard did not make Lu Sheng the strongest pseudo-god in Jiangnan province. Countless ancient powerhouses who had lived for centuries still loomed above him. They boasted immense strength and heritage, yet were trapped by certain barriers holding them back from advancement. Perhaps their subjects possessed mediocre aptitude, failing to reach fifth order even after dozens of generations. Or their population was too small to gather sufficient faith, or they had failed to comprehend the power of laws. Still, for a high school student whose small world had opened less than a year prior, Lu Sheng's achievements were extraordinary. Continue. Lu Sheng refused to stop. He wanted to discover the true limits of his divine realm after 3 months of relentless effort. Elsewhere, Lu San was resting at home with his 2 spouses when another call from the school arrived. Why is it him again? Seeing the caller ID on his virtual projection, Lu San's face twisted with irritation. He wondered how this person always managed to call at such inopportune moments. The last time he had been about to settle down for rest, and now he was caught mid-break. Damn it! Even with his usual self-restraint, Lu San swore under his breath. He almost hung up directly, but then he recalled an order he had given earlier. He calmed himself, sent his spouses away, and answered the call. Speak. What trouble has Lu Sheng gotten into? If you're calling just because he climbed a few hundred ranks on the War Simulator leaderboard, you can forget your monthly salary. Lu San snapped, his cheeks still flushed from his prior rest. The man on the other end paid no heed to Lu San's bad temper and shouted excitedly, even more agitated than last time. Not a few hundred ranks, thousands. Lu Sheng has ripped through matches straight into the top 100 of the Jiangnan Provincial Elite Student Leaderboard, with a 99.8% win rate. No, wait. Principal Lu, look. Lu Sheng has reached first place. He's overtaken Hui Yuan from the provincial capital. What? Overtaken Hui Yuan. Number 1 on the Jiangnan Provincial Elite Student Leaderboard. Lu San shot upright from his bed, his mood shifting completely. He blurted out in shock, oblivious to the fact he was only wearing underwear. His shock was fully justified. The news bordered on unbelievable. Who was Hui Yuan? He was the eldest son of a top-tier tech corporation in the provincial capital. His initial small world spanned 1 million square kilometers. He possessed a powerful grade innate talent and countless strategic-grade resources, pulling far ahead of other students from the very moment he awakened. Even standouts such as Long Outyin and Feng Qingyang paled beside him. Many predicted Hui Yuan would satisfy the 3 harsh prerequisites and ascend to demigod status before his first year of university ended. "Pull up the leaderboard for me right away," Lu Sen urged. "Okay." The man snapped to attention and pulled up the smart light screen monitoring all students of the school. At the very top sat Lu Sheng's name, still boasting that astonishing 99.8% win rate. His score jumped dozens of points every short interval. In the span of their brief conversation, his score had already surged past 7,000. "This boy's innate talent far exceeds our estimates. Thank goodness we invested in him early." Lu Sen stared intently at the screen and drew a deep breath, feeling fortunate. Lu Sheng's gifts had outstripped all expectations. He needed to report this to the Jiangnan Provincial Education Bureau immediately. No, he must send an urgent report to Blue Star Education Bureau headquarters. Back on Lu Sheng's side, when his points crossed 8,000, he finally drew an opponent that gave him genuine trouble. Match found. Random scenario. Primordial battlefield. Countdown 59, 58, 57. The virtual battlefield reshaped into a vast, desolate expanse reminiscent of the surface of the moon, thick with the stench of gunpowder. Lu Sheng laid eyes on the enemy god's army. Humans. Only 4th-order and 3rd-order beings. 100,000 3rd-order units, each clad in crimson armor lined with thorn-like spikes at every joint, overlaid with black chitin plating, radiating overwhelming menace. The 1,000 4th-order units at the fore were even more imposing. Each wore sleek, jet-black mecha. When they moved, scale plating on the mecha stood erect, as if alive, oozing murderous aura. This god appeared to combine martial arts and mechanical technology. The pilots inside boasted physical prowess matching standard 3rd and 4th-order warriors, while operating high-tech equipment with masterful skill. This mecha gear, at minimum a grade. Lu Sheng frowned. Just like buildings and spirit plants, the leap from grade to a grade equipment was a massive threshold. Every A-grade artifact qualified as a strategic-grade resource, worth astronomical sums. A-grade gear unleashed devastating destructive power, wasted on pseudo-god-level fighters ordinarily, yet this opponent fielded them in droves. This would be tricky. He had truly run into another resource-rich foe. Yet Lu Sheng felt no fear. Victory or defeat would only be decided through combat. Battle commenced. Whoosh. As soon as fighting erupted, the enemy mecha warriors blasted plumes of white exhaust and streaked forward like black lightning straight toward Lu Sheng's ranks. Charge. Yuzo commanded his troops. 30 sky-piercing battleships finished charging their main cannons and fired upon the 3rd and 4th-order mecha warriors. The foes twisted nimbly and evaded most volleys. Clad in their mecha, these 4th-order human warriors could evade the spirit energy targeting of grade flying battleships. Even when shots landed, the mecha's built-in energy barrier absorbed most of the damage, only wounding a few hundred units. Against a grade equipment, grade weaponry could no longer deliver meaningful harm. On a fully mechanized planet far away, a young man brushed his neck-mounted brain-computer interface and smiled complacently. My 500th consecutive victory is all but guaranteed. P.S. A patch has been applied. An earlier plot point about the protagonist trying to gain free guidance from instructors has been adjusted. Education Bureau contracted teachers are now bound by divine oath contracts for better logical consistency. I will keep this loophole in mind going forward. Many readers have asked when fusion-type talents will appear. The plot advances step by step. Power-ups will unfold gradually, with different forms of growth for each story stage. Please look forward to future chapters. I read reader comments whenever I have time. I will fix typos, numerical errors, and omitted details whenever I spot them. Some will receive replies, others will be corrected directly in text. Lastly, thank you all for reading and gifting rewards. Seeing that the sky-piercing battleships were yielding minimal results, Yuzo immediately ordered all top-tier champions to engage on the ground. Only Foundation establishment cultivators remained aboard, supervised by a Golden Core cultivator to pilot the flying vessels. At the same time, the Myriad Sword Immortal Formation, manned by over 1 million cultivators, rose into view. Millions of flying swords shot skyward with earth-shattering momentum. Surrounding the myriad sword immortal formation stood several peerless military arrays. Blessed by the perfect discipline trait, even with armies numbering in the tens of millions, every formation operated in flawless unison without chaos. Shortly afterward, the 1,000 Fourth-Order mecha units reached the front lines. Upon drawing near, faint ripples spread outward, warping gravity across hundreds of meters. Dozens of Lu Sheng's spirit warriors prepared to engage them, only to feel as if a mountain bore down upon their backs. Caught off guard, they crashed to the ground. Laser blades sliced through their necks in the next instant, severing heads from bodies. In a single exchange, tens of thousands of Lu Sheng's third-order spirit warriors perished. Warriors fall back and deploy the Black Tortoise formation. The Myriad Sword Immortal formation hold the front. Yuzo assessed the battlefield at a glance and reordered his lines rapidly. Against mecha equipped with gravity field technology, only cultivator spirit energy barriers could mitigate the gravitational suppression. Sending warriors forward amounted to throwing lives away. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Swords surged forth, empowered by formidable mana and formation blessings. They hammered relentlessly against the mecha energy barriers, producing a staccato, crackling din. Though unable to pierce the Agrade mecha shields, this dense, high-power barrage greatly hindered the mecha warriors' mobility and drained their energy reserves. Boom. Then, as if receiving a command, the scale plating on the Fourth-Order mecha flared open. Their speed multiplied several-fold. They shattered the Myriad Sword Immortal formation and stormed through, slaughtering cultivators left and right. Bang, bang, bang. Clouds of blood exploded across the battlefield. The 1,000 mecha warriors rampaged freely, slaying tens of thousands of Lu Sheng subjects within merely 10 breaths. When driven at full power, the Agrade mecha drastically elevated every physical attribute of their pilots. Their crimson energy barriers deflected Fourth-Order strikes entirely, paired with gravity field manipulation that made them frightfully hard to counter. Yet Lu Sheng felt no anger. Instead, he pondered earnestly. How great would my subjects' combat power become if they wore this same mecha gear? Undoubtedly, these enemy pilots would be slain instantly if stripped of their Agrade mecha and forced to fight his forces bare-bodied. But now they moved freely within the peerless Myriad Sword Immortal formation, enduring heavy fire while cutting down his subjects. This stoked his curiosity regarding mechanical constructs. Though such machinery devoured vast amounts of resources, it promised massive leaps in strength for his divine realm. Suddenly, the mecha piloted by a Fourth-Order subject on the opposite side could no longer withstand the pressure. Its surrounding energy shield shattered, and it was about to be slammed into the ground by the rain of swords. Countless spirit swords crashed against the pitch-black mecha, carving countless tiny marks across its surface. This is our chance. Xian Yuan, who presided over the Zhu Xian sword formation, eyes lit up. He immediately split off a smaller formation. Tens of thousands of B-grade spirit swords coalesced into an enormous giant sword, which smashed brutally into the falling mecha warrior. Boom! A deafening crash rang out. The mecha warrior's frame lurched violently. The ground behind it split open, sending clouds of dust billowing into the air. When the dust cleared, a horrifying crack ran across the mecha's hull. It had not completely broken apart, yet its pilot was in a terrible state. Crushed by such overwhelming force, the pilot's waist and abdomen were fractured. Their body bent sharply into a large C shape, with blood streaming from all 6 orifices. No matter how tough the mecha was, the full brunt of the impact had been transferred straight to its occupant. Watching this scene, Lu Sheng clenched his fists tightly. There was an opening. On the virtual battlefield, the remaining 999 enemy mecha warriors still moved with formidable agility, reaping the lives of Lu Sheng's subjects one after another. Still, once one fell, more would follow. Gradually, some ran out of energy and were destroyed by concentrated fire. Meanwhile, the 100,000 Third-Order mecha warriors outside the Zhu Xian sword formation were held back by several other million-strong battle arrays. The Griffin Knight Corps rained down fire from above. Against all expectations, the battlefield had reached a stalemate. On the mechanical planet, a man crushed the metal cup in his hand, staring in disbelief at what unfolded on the virtual battlefield. His army, fully equipped with A-grade mechas, had been dragged into a war of attrition by his opponent. In the previous match, even facing 3,000 Fourth-Order beings on the enemy side, he had crushed them with overwhelming force. Yet his current foe had barely over 1,000 such units. How was this possible? This opponent is highly skilled. He quickly regained his composure and began to channel the power of cosmic laws. The mechas, already radiating an eerie aura, truly stirred to life. On top of their pilot's commands, their combat logic began to optimize autonomously. Once he unleashed the power of laws, the tide of battle tilted once more in his favor. Still, as casualties mounted, the line stabilized again. What is going on? Why do they fight harder the more hurt they get? The mechanical god was utterly confused. Logically speaking, ordinary beings should grow weaker from pain and injuries once grievously wounded. Yet these foes fought as if driven by some potent stimulant. Even with laser blasts piercing their chests, their internal organs spilling out, they would lunge forward to strike back with desperate ferocity. Worse still, their destructive power far exceeded what it should have been. This made no sense. It defied all cosmic logic. Time wore on. Lu Sheng's forces dwindled from an initial 10 million, down to 5 million, then 3 million, 1 million, until only 500,000 exhausted cultivators remained, their mana depleted. The enemy too were reduced to ragged survivors. Every mecha bore hundreds of deep, gashing scars, their pilots gasping, their energy reserves drained. At that moment, Lu Sheng made his move. Countless streaks of green light poured down from the sky. The 500,000 badly wounded cultivators were instantly fully healed. Their long, exhausted dantians refilled with mana, restoring them to peak combat power. By contrast, the enemy god had already burned through nearly all his primal essence. We give thanks for our god's grace. In our god's name, slay these heretics. Charge. Restored to full strength, the cultivators reformed the Zhu Xian sword array. They swept down upon the broken enemy mecha units like a tempest, securing victory in this battle. Battle concluded. Lu Sheng, citizen of Great Xia, is victorious. Plus 30 points. Current total, 80-50. Win rate, 99.8%. Would you like to queue for another match? We finally won. The virtual battlefield reconstructed itself. Lu Sheng let out a long breath. It had been a narrow win. This was without doubt the strongest opponent he had ever faced. Moreover, the opposing god had clearly not unleashed his full might. Even senior high school students who had opened their own small worlds for over half a year would command far larger subject populations. Evidently, his foe had believed this force would be more than enough to dominate this tier and had only deployed 100,000 troops. He had never expected to run into Lu Sheng, who was also vastly overpowered for this bracket. Phew, Lu Sheng exhaled deeply. It suddenly dawned on him that he had a mock exam the next day. He exited the virtual battlefield and glanced at the time. 4 o'clock in the morning. Whoa, is it that late already? Shocked, Lu Sheng immediately climbed into bed. This mock exam was the final assessment before the National God Crafting College entrance examination. He could not afford to miss it. Meanwhile, on Blue Star, at Fengtian University, inside a plain office, a middle-aged man finished reading a report laid out before him. He shot upright in his chair. Hurry, alert the admissions department. Send personnel to Linhai City right away. Before the 3 top universities catch wind of him, we must recruit this student named Lu Sheng. The next day, the mock examination got underway. By coincidence, Lu Sheng was assigned to exam hall 404 once more, only this time at Linhai Elite High School instead of Linhai No. 1 High School. Ring. Ling. The exam has begun. Candidates may start answering questions. At the chime of the bell, every student picked up their pens and raced to write. Rustling filled the room. Lu Sheng looked down at his exam paper. Question 1 short answer. You walk into a nightclub. The owner tells you he has bred several exquisite elves within his small world, who are working as hostesses for the very first time. He invites you to enjoy their company free of charge. Would you accept or decline? State your reasoning for your choice. Truly the opening question, a straightforward giveaway. Lu Sheng's mouth twitched as he read it. This tested basic common sense of the modern age. In this world, gods and their subjects existed in separate dimensions. The main world contained countless planets and all manner of cosmic races. The world, sea, was the realm where subjects dwelt. An inexplicable barrier divided the two. Subjects could never cross into the main world, yet gods could project their consciousness into the world, sea, to oversee the rise and fall of their small worlds. So elves could theoretically appear within nightclubs. The flaw in the scenario lay elsewhere. The owner claimed these elves had been pulled directly out of his small world. The owner was lying. Lu Sheng chose to decline without hesitation and wrote out his reasoning. He moved on. Question 2 multiple choice. If a god who has advanced to demigod rank loses every subject of 5th order or higher within their small world, what consequences will follow? A. Divine rank regresses to pseudo-god. The surface area of the small world shrinks drastically. B. The god dies instantly. C. Divine rank remains unchanged, yet power is greatly diminished. The small world retains its original size. D. Divine rank remains unchanged, yet power is greatly diminished. The surface area of the small world shrinks drastically. Lu Sheng glanced over it and selected C without pause. Once attained, a divine rank could never be revoked. Whether one was a pseudo-god, demigod, or true god, once the threshold of breakthrough was crossed, divine rank could never be lost. Even if the small world was destroyed and the core of the god realm shattered, that would kill the god outright, not strip them of their rank. The size of the small world would likewise stay the same. Too easy. Lu Sheng thought to himself and kept going. As his god realm grew stronger, Lu Sheng's memory had improved dramatically. Knowledge etched into his mind would never fade. Concept-based questions like these required no real thought. Answers surfaced automatically in his mind. One question after another passed beneath his pen. He raced through the paper until he reached the final, short, answer question. Short, answer final question. Within the development of a small world, gods may nurture their own subjects as well as recruit other races as retainers to serve them. Describe one's self-sustaining subject, retainer cultivation system. Outline its respective advantages and drawbacks. Reading the prompt, Lu Sheng's thoughts turned to recent events inside his own small world. Inspiration struck, and he began writing rapidly. An hour later, the exam bell rang. Ding! The exam has concluded. All candidates must stop writing immediately. Next came the prosperity assessment. Log. An unknown will is observing your small world log. Observation permissions have been granted. A human population of 10 million? How can this be? Such a high proportion of high-order beings. Even stonefolk retainers, a race of limited intellect and developmental potential, boast numerous third-order individuals. Greystone goblins have even produced a fourth-order being. Wait, what is this? 1,000-year elemental god, tree, and elemental adepts. The spiritual energy density here is astonishing. Is this truly the small world of merely a pseudo-god? High above in the endless void, the chief examiner was thoroughly confounded. Then he caught sight of the student's name, and all confusion melted away. He assigned a score of 295 out of 300. So it is Lu Sheng. That explains everything. Thanks to his performance in the war, simulator assessment, and major inter-school events, Lu Sheng's name was now known to every high-ranking educator. Everyone in Linhai City knew about this genius from an ordinary background. Prosperity assessment complete. You have a 10-minute break. 10 minutes from now, the first wave of monster incursion will commence. The practical assessment simulated a full-scale invasion of one's god realm. Just as Lu Sheng was about to send a warning to the inhabitants of his small world, a powerful repellent force crashed over him. The next instant, his consciousness was forcefully ejected. He woke up inside his cultivation pod. What on earth just happened? Lu Sheng stared around in bewilderment. He had been in the middle of an exam. Where had he been pulled to? Friend Lu Sheng, we meet once more. A gentle voice sounded beside him, calm and soothing, easing his frustration. Lu Sheng turned his head and recognized the speaker. It was Li Muxiue, the third-order true god who had given him grade A tier talent resources and exchanged contact information with him before. Yet why was she here? Friend Lu Sheng, this is not a suitable place for our conversation. Please follow me. Li Muxiue smiled softly. With a wave of her hand, their surroundings shifted instantly into a private office. Senior, what matter is so important that you would personally intervene and interrupt my examination? Lu Sheng asked in confusion. Li Muxiue was a lofty third-order true god, someone perpetually swamped with important duties. Last time she had come to appraise his hidden talent. What brought her this time? A mock exam is of little consequence. I have come regarding a matter of immense importance that will shape your future path. Li Muxiue chuckled. She rested her hand naturally on Lu Sheng's shoulder. A faint, pleasant fragrance drifted toward him. Lu Sheng's body tensed. He struggled to parse her intentions. They were alone together in a private room, and she stood far too close. Was this truly merely a formal discussion? Noticing his reaction, Li Muxiue's smile deepened as she drew slightly nearer. Lu Sheng, I have secured a guaranteed admission spot for you at Fontian University. No further requirements apply. You may enroll unconditionally. You will receive special elite student status, gain access to the university's full support network, and unlimited high-grade resources. What do you think? Are you excited? I see now. Realization dawned on Lu Sheng. His outstanding performance in yesterday's war simulator match had drawn the attention of high-ranking education officials. Most youths would be overwhelmed with gratitude, ready to accept such an outstanding offer from a top-tier university. Yet Lu Sheng perceived underlying motives. A third-order true god had traveled across vast distances, pulled him straight out of an exam, and exerted such special efforts for a low-ranked pseudo-god like himself. What drove such urgency? Senior Li, Fangtian University is an excellent institution, yet I already have my sights set elsewhere. I must respectfully decline. Lu Sheng wore an apologetic expression. Li Muxue had expected her recruitment pitch to succeed effortlessly. She was taken aback and pressed her point. Lu Sheng, Fangtian ranks among the very best first-tier universities. Resources are abundant. Only 10 special elite student slots are awarded across the whole school each year. This status grants unmatched resources and standing. You would immediately receive large quantities of strategic, grade materials and guidance from distinguished instructors. Even as a grade A tier talent, these privileges would be extremely hard to obtain. I understand. Lu Sheng remained calm. Still, I must decline. Why? Are the offered benefits insufficient? If you agree, I can petition for further concessions. Senior, there is no need. Lu Sheng took a deep breath and spoke earnestly. My goal lies with the 3 supreme universities. No matter what terms Fangtian offers, I will not change my mind. Nobody understood his own path better than he did. Possessing the power of the Lord of Word marks, given enough time he would stand out even among the prodigies of those elite institutions. Since Li Muxue had treated him well in the past and held the station of a true god, Lu Sheng took the time to explain rather than turning and leaving outright. But disappointment flickered across Li Muxue's eyes. She was about to continue persuading him when a deafening crash cut her off. Boom rumble. The ground trembled, and clouds were torn apart. At that exact moment, every person in Linhai City sensed the disturbance. Students woke from their cultivation pods mid-exam, staring out their windows in confusion. From the shattered clouds emerged an enormous arc. Vast segmented sections pushed out through roiling mist, each segment the size of a mountain. Its scale defied imagination. Fluid luminous patterns spread across its hull. Bluish, purple energy veins crawled over its metallic frame like burning flames. As it materialized, it blotted out sunlight, radiating overwhelming pressure across the entirety of Linhai City. That is, the Imperial War Arc of Ziwei Academy. Someone spotted the striking characters Ziwei emblazoned across its bow. Why had one of the 3 supreme universities sent its flagship all the way to this remote city? Before the onlookers could process this sight, the torn clouds churned again. 2 more war arcs descended into view. 3 massive arcs hovered side by side above Linhai City. What is happening? Both Kyushu University and Kunlun Academy have arrived. All 3 supreme universities are here in person. What kind of prodigy could draw such a direct recruitment effort from all 3 top-tier institutions? What era are we living in? Ripples spread through the air. Streaks of light shot forth from each arc, covering the distance to Linhai Elite High School in the blink of an eye. Lu San and other school administrators hurried forward to greet them. I am Lu San, Vice Principal of Linhai Elite High School, save the formalities. The middle-aged man in dark robes cut him off. His sharp gaze swept over every god present. We have no interest in who you are. We have come seeking one individual. Where is Lu Sheng? As he spoke, resonant echoes of cosmic truths boomed inside Lu San's mind. Faced with true gods representing the supreme universities, he dared not show the slightest disrespect. He bowed deeply. He is inside the 3rd floor office at this moment, in discussion with a representative from Fangtian University. Whoosh. In the next instant, the 3 figures vanished. Inside the private office of Linhai Elite High School. How could they get here so fast? Li Muxue watched from afar. A tremor ran through her, and the light in her eyes dimmed. With envoys from all 3 supreme universities present, how could Fangtian University, merely a first-tier institution, compete? According to her original plan, the 3 supreme universities would take at least 3 days to learn of Lu Sheng's extraordinary gifts. If Fangtian could sign him in that window, even direct intervention from the supreme universities afterward could not reverse the agreement. With Lu Sheng's talent, he might even revitalize the declining Fangtian University. She had never anticipated Lu Sheng rejecting her generous offer. Nor had she imagined the 3 supreme universities would dispatch war arcs and rush full speed to Blue Star. An awkward silence hung over the room. Have they come for me? Lu Sheng wondered inwardly. Judging by Li Mushua's reaction and the timing of the ARC's arrival, he was 90% certain he was their target. He had heard stories of Blue Star natives gaining admission to the supreme universities, yet that always happened after the national exam. Those students traveled via interstellar shuttles. Never before had universities sent flagship vessels to collect a candidate directly. Is Lu Sheng inside? A voice came from outside the door. Unlike their brusque tone toward school staff, the envoys from the supreme universities spoke with notable gentleness. Wow, they are really quick. Lu Sheng was startled. I am here. Please come in. The door swung open on its own. Lu Sheng saw 3 figures, 2 men and 1 woman, dressed in magnificent robes and exuding extraordinary bearing. Greetings, Lu Sheng. I am the admissions representative for Ziwei Academy. After analysis from Great Xia's advanced artificial intelligences and internal deliberations, the Academy has determined you satisfy our guaranteed admission criteria. We are here today to formally extend our invitation. I represent Kyushu University, and I represent Kunlun Academy. Each gave a brief introduction. Before Lu Sheng could reply, all 3 turned toward Li Mushua, regarding her with lofty, assessing gazes. Their tone carried unmistakable authority. Before we conduct our discussions with Lu Sheng, all unrelated personnel are requested to leave this chamber at once. You, all of you. Li Mushua, seethed with anger inside, yet mindful of their statuses, she could only turn and leave helplessly. The 3 admissions representatives from the top universities were all 4th order true gods. Though only 1 rank separated them from her, the gap in both power and social standing was vast beyond measure. No matter how displeased she felt, she had no choice but to swallow her frustration. After Li Mushua departed, the admissions officer from Ziwei Academy exchanged glances with the other 2 and spoke first. Student Lu Sheng, under the laws of Daxia, all university guaranteed admission quotas are strictly regulated by the Daxia Bureau of Education to ensure fair competition. This rule applies even to the elite universities. Therefore, when multiple institutions compete for a guaranteed candidate as we see now, the Daxia Bureau of Education stipulates that each school shall present its offers, and the student shall make an independent choice. Whichever school you ultimately pick, or even if you reject all offers, it is fully legitimate. You need not feel pressured in any way. Lu Sheng nodded earnestly. He had taken the National College entrance examination precisely to gain entry into one of these 3 universities. Now that an opportunity for guaranteed admission had appeared, he had no intention of turning all of them down. Now, allow Ziwei Academy to make our presentation first. The representative of Ziwei Academy waved his hand, and the 2 of them entered an isolated space. Student Lu Sheng, due to your recent performance in the war simulator, your rating issued by Daxia's Advanced Intelligent Entities has been revised. That is why Ziwei Academy and the other 2 top universities have extended guaranteed admission invitations to you. As he finished speaking, he stretched out a hand. A pale blue, white light screen unfolded before Lu Sheng's eyes. Daxia Citizen, Lu Sheng Awakened Talent Grade C. Homeland of Breeding Awakened Talent Grade SS. Aura Revival Talent awakened for 7 months, ranked within the top 1,000 on Blue Planet's False God leaderboard in the War Simulator classification. Candidate for grade. A heavenly prodigy under observation. Lu Sheng stared at the text, confused. Senior, I understand what a candidate for grade, a heavenly prodigy means, but why does it say under observation at the end? Does that mean my status as a candidate isn't secure yet? Every grade, a heavenly prodigy, stands as a pillar of Daxia. Their strategic significance differs entirely from prodigies of lower tiers, and the educational resources allocated to them are extraordinarily precious. The Ziwei Academy representative explained patiently. For this reason, anyone aiming to become a grade, a heavenly prodigy, must first undergo an extended observation period to qualify as a candidate. This status only means you possess the potential to receive the grade, a classification. Further monitoring will follow to confirm you satisfy all requirements before the official title is conferred. Lu Sheng fell silent. He had a strange sense of familiarity regarding this rating system, yet he could not pinpoint where he had encountered something similar. After a short pause, the representative moved on to formally outline the benefits offered by Ziwei Academy. Based on your circumstances, the greatest advantage of enrolling with us is a 4-year residency permit on Ziwei Star. A residency permit? Precisely. You may not know this, student Lu Sheng. Ziwei Star ranks among the top 10 inhabited worlds under Daxia's jurisdiction. Even lower true gods face rigorous screening to gain entry, and those who pass are restricted to stays of no more than 3 days. Noticing Lu Sheng's confusion, The representative delivered his explanation with practiced ease, as if he had repeated these words countless times. Strategic resources, rare familiars, intelligence on minor worlds, high-tech mechanical constructs, and all manner of scarce materials that are rarely seen anywhere else are commonplace on Ziwei Star. I see. Lu Xing nodded. In Linhai City, an ordinary lower true god who sought such strategic resources would have to risk their life, pioneering uncharted wild worlds or engaging in divine wars. On Ziwei Star, however, suitable resources could be purchased at any time as long as one possessed sufficient wealth. Unneeded strategic resources obtained from expeditions also had established channels for resale. Coordinates to wild worlds and alien minor worlds could even be bought. Furthermore, trade on Ziwei Star operates outside standard official market channels, mostly conducted through private offline transactions, allowing traders to avoid heavy taxation. That trading network alone would likely draw countless powerful individuals to the planet. Second, Ziwei Academy provides every student with a basic resource subsidy of 100,000 wisps of divinity each academic year, plus one opportunity to enter the Ziwei Secret Realm. The Academy also hosts the Ziwei Lecture Hall every month, covering topics of minor world development across myriad races. All records of wild and alien minor worlds archived by the Academy are open for free access to every student. You may also complete Academy, assign missions to earn merit points, another valuable source of income. Moreover, the resources provided by the Academy are not fixed. Within Ziwei Academy exists the Heavenly Prodigy rankings. As your ranking rises, the resources you receive from the school will increase accordingly. The representative of Ziwei Academy spoke at length, but his offer boiled down to 5 key points. First, the 4-year residency permit on Ziwei Star granted access to an invaluable network for buying and selling resources. Second, student baseline rewards. As a candidate for grade, a heavenly prodigy under observation, he would receive 100,000 wisps of divinity annually. At an exchange rate of 1 wisp to 100 million faith points, this equated to 100 trillion faith points in subsidies. The Ziwei Secret Realm was an exclusive legendary domain belonging to Ziwei Academy, capable of strengthening the power of laws. Each student was granted only 1 entry chance per year. Third, Academy instructors frequently ventured into the World Sea for pioneering expeditions. They compiled intelligence on countless minor worlds, assigned risk ratings to each, and shared this information openly with all Academy students. Fourth, the Academy issued missions. Students completed tasks to gain merit points. 1 merit point equaled 1 wisp of divinity, though points could only be exchanged for resources held within the Academy and could not be converted into divinity currency. Fifth, the Heavenly Prodigy rankings. Rankings were determined primarily by the overall strength of a student's divine kingdom. Contests took place within the Academy's dedicated Ziwei battlefield. Students challenged those ranked above them, seizing positions and greater rewards upon victory. This Ziwei battlefield differed from the virtual battlefields of the war simulator. Opposing forces were no longer merely mortal subjects, but perfect one-to-one replicas of divine kingdoms from minor worlds. To claim another's ranking, one had to successfully besiege their divine kingdom on the Ziwei battlefield and destroy the core of their virtual divine kingdom. Maintaining a high ranking, therefore, demanded not only overwhelming offensive power, but also robust defenses for one's divine kingdom. No wonder they are called top-tier academies. Just hearing these terms is enough to make anyone's heart race with excitement. Lu Xing swallowed hard, suppressing his surging excitement as he replied. The terms offered by Ziwei Academy are excellent. I will give them careful consideration. Though he wanted to accept Ziwei Academy's invitation immediately, 2 other elite universities still awaited their turn to present offers. What if their terms proved even more generous? He must not act hastily. Greetings, student Lu Xing. Our Kyushu University resides on Kyushu Star, another world ranked within Daxia's top 10. Beyond that, the Academy can provide you with 200,000 wisps of divinity each academic year. Greetings, student Lu Xing. Kunlun University is located on Kunlun Star, also counted among Daxia's top 10 worlds. You will receive 100,000 wisps of divinity annually alongside 1 entry pass to the Kunlun Secret Realm. The Academy also maintains captive demigod-level alien beings available for combat practice at any time. Afterward, the admissions representatives from Kyushu University and Kunlun University entered the private space one after another, introducing their institution's strengths and offered rewards. Kunlun University's initial terms were largely identical to those of Ziwei Academy. while Kyushu University replaced the secret realm access with an additional 100,000 wisps of divinity. Beyond material rewards, the three universities differed greatly in teaching models and philosophies governing divine kingdom development. Ziwei Academy pursued all-round development for its students, balancing logistics and warfare to build self-sustaining, multi-layered closed-cycle systems. The campus culture was diverse and inclusive, nurturing both settlement-focused and war-oriented cultivators. Kyushu University was a pure combat-focused institution. It prioritized maximizing the fighting capacity of divine kingdoms and constructing complete war systems. Its faculty suggested cultivating vassal gods to handle logistical support, ideal for those who favored constant combat. Kunlun University diverged from traditional development paths. It boasted an innovative atmosphere, specializing in niche cultivation paths such as magic, alchemy, eerie revival, cybernetics, and more. If I choose Kyushu University, I will likely be forced down an extreme combat path, relying on war plunder to obtain resources. That does not align with my style. Niche cultivation paths are even less suitable for me. Lu Sheng hesitated only briefly before settling on his decision. The material resources offered by all three academies were roughly comparable. His choice therefore hinged on institutional culture and methods of resource acquisition. If he committed to pure combat tactics, even if he found suitable vassal gods, they would eventually fall behind his pace of growth and lose their usefulness. He would then be forced to seek out new vassals or sustain his development through constant warfare. This approach hindered steady divine kingdom growth and carried substantial risk of death. Possessing the power of Master of Entries, Lu Sheng believed Ziwei Academy's teaching model suited him best. Under the watchful gaze of the three university representatives, Lu Sheng turned toward the middle-aged man representing Ziwei Academy and spoke respectfully. Senior Su, I choose to enroll in Ziwei Academy. He had learned during their earlier conversation that the Ziwei Academy admissions officer was named Su Yuan, a genuine mid-rank god. Beings of this caliber stood among the most powerful figures on Blue Planet, yet within Ziwei Academy, he worked merely as an admissions officer. Welcome aboard, student Lu Sheng. A smile appeared on Su Yuan's face. The representatives of the other two universities simply nodded without further comment. While Lu Sheng held the status of candidate for grade, a heavenly prodigy under observation, every intake across the three elite universities welcomed at least 1,000 talents of similar standing. They felt only mild disappointment at his decision. The official guaranteed admission invitation from Ziwei Academy has been sent to your mailbox. Please confirm your acceptance. Su Yuan reminded him. Lu Sheng nodded and opened the message on his smart wristband. Sure enough, an official letter from Ziwei Academy awaited him. Ziwei Academy. After thorough deliberation, the school formally extends an offer of guaranteed admission to student Lu Sheng. Once this was completed, Lu Sheng looked to Su Yuan. Senior Su, may I go bid my family farewell? Of course. Su Yuan appeared to be in high spirits. You have one day. We were able to reach Blue Planet so quickly following your rating upgrade because the previous guaranteed candidate we collected was on a nearby world. More than 500 other admitted students still await pickup. Thank you, Senior. Lu Sheng bowed deeply, then hurried outside. Stepping out of the teaching building, Lu Sheng saw a large crowd gathered outside. Long Outyan, the Nangong sisters, Feng Qingyang, Zhao Mingjian, Liang. All of them had been taking the school's simulated examinations when the sudden commotion interrupted the test. Moments later, they witnessed 3 war arc carriers belonging to Daxia's top universities hovering above Linhai City. They also noticed Lu Sheng's absence from the examination hall. The truth was self-evident. The 3 prestigious universities had mobilized such great resources solely for Lu Sheng. Now, watching the figure emerge from the building, Long Outyan's hope faded completely, his eyes empty. Sister, Nangong Wenya glanced at the silent Nangong Wenxue and sighed helplessly. Feng Qingyang was filled with emotion. Zhao Mingjian stared in shock. Li Yang's expression grew complicated as memories stirred within him. Nearly 10,000 students of Linhai Elite High School watched the departing figure, countless emotions churning in their hearts. Had the gap between them already widened to such an unimaginable extent? Lu family residence, Shangping District. Lu Tianxing stared out the window at the 3 colossal vessels suspended in the sky and exclaimed, "Good heavens! All 3 top universities have come in person. Could it be someone from Linhai City received a guaranteed admission spot?" Wang Ming sighed in admiration. If only our son could get guaranteed admission too. Click. The door opened at that moment, and Lu Sheng stood before them. Son, Weren't you taking the mock exam at school today? Why have you come home so early? Father, mother, I came to bid you farewell. Lu Xing shook his head. At those words, Lu Tianxing and Wang Ning exchanged a glance. Realization dawned. They pointed toward the flying vessels in the sky, voices trembling. They were well aware of Lu Sheng's achievements. Even amid the gathered talents of elite high school, he consistently claimed first place, a peerless genius. The couple had once thought their family's fortunes had turned for the better, yet they never imagined their son's talent would be extraordinary enough to draw competing offers from the top universities. I have accepted Ziwei Academy's guaranteed admission invitation. I will soon leave Blue Planet and travel to Ziwei Star. Lu Sheng confirmed without hesitation. Silence fell over the two parents for a short while. Wang Ning stepped forward and embraced Lu Sheng, her face a mix of immense pride and sorrow. Go on, son. Take good care of yourself. Do not take unnecessary risks. Your safety comes first. Ha ha. My Lu Tianxing's son has earned guaranteed admission to a top university. Ha ha. Lu Tianxing laughed loudly, struggling to conceal his reluctance. He clapped Lu Sheng firmly on the shoulder and boomed. Well done, son. You have brought great honor to our Lu family. From now on, whenever I drink with my friends, no one's boasts will compare to mine. Lu Sheng looked at his parents. Words crowded his throat, yet he could not speak them aloud. After 18 years living alongside his mother and father on Blue Planet, this first journey would carry him across billions of light years to another star. A strange weight settled in his chest. Father, mother, take care of yourselves. Lu Sheng wasted no extra time. After meeting his parents and packing essential belongings, he returned to Linhai Elite High School. Are you ready? I am ready. Lu Xing took one final look at Linhai City behind him. Su Yuan nodded, waved his hand, and a gentle energy wrapped around Lu Sheng. The two transformed into streaks of light and boarded the Ark carrier. Student Lu Sheng, we still need to collect other guaranteed admission candidates along the route. The voyage to Ziwei Star will take roughly 1 month. The Ark is fully equipped, and you will reside aboard during this journey. Su Yuan raised a hand. A glowing wooden token materialized and floated toward Lu Sheng. This is your identity token. It will guide you to your private quarters aboard the Ark and serve as the access key for all designated areas. Your 100,000 wisps of divinity subsidy will be transferred to your Divine Kingdom account shortly. Please check your balance. Thank you, Senior. Lu Xing caught the token. He channeled a strand of law power into it, and a map of the Ark's interior unfolded before his eyes. The vessel was divided into 4 major zones: Work Zone, Rest Zone, Catering Zone, and Recreation Zone. All zones except the Work Zone were open freely to guaranteed admission students. Lu Xing followed the token's guidance toward his room. Oh, a new arrival. Brother, care to come out and meet everyone? If I am not mistaken, you just came from Blue Planet. Can such a place really produce a guaranteed candidate? The world is full of surprises. Have you forgotten we have a grade? A heavenly prodigy who originates from a poor remote world. He passed numerous students who had boarded earlier. Most merely glanced at him before shifting their gaze away, while a small number warmly attempted to strike up a conversation. Lu Sheng had no desire for excessive socializing. He politely declined all invitations and proceeded straight to a room deep within the rest zone. The space spanned roughly 50 to 60 square meters, furnished similarly to a high-grade hotel suite. After unpacking his belongings, Lu Sheng checked his smart wristband and found the subsidy from Ziwei Academy had arrived. Beep. You have received a transfer from Ziwei Academy. Divinity balance. 100,379.31 subjects generate 0.01 wisps of divinity daily. As soon as the funds arrived, Lu Sheng activated all aura refining wells within his minor world at maximum output. Even those possessing the 5 spirit root constitution would require only around 30 years to refine their roots into heavenly spirit roots. More than a month remained until arrival at Ziwei Star. He had no intention of idling away the voyage. Instead, he resolved to push forward the development of his divine kingdom, aiming to make a striking debut in the first Heavenly Prodigy tournament. If he managed to break through to demigod before reaching the academy, he might even shed the under-observation suffix attached to his title. Year 210 within the minor world. On a whim, Lu Sheng cast purification upon a stone construct that had suffered a failed mutation. The construct, which should have collapsed completely, regained vitality under the power of the entry. Best of all, Lu Sheng had expended merely 100 faith points. If this works, as long as I have enough faith points, I can mass-produce legions of warriors stabilized after positive mutation. Lu Sheng was astonished by the discovery. He then unleashed mutation force on an elementalist, ready to reverse the transformation with purification at any moment. Yeah. Inside the minor world, the petite elementalist twisted in agony, her complexion pale, streaks of emerald light flickering across her body as she writhed on the ground. After several seconds, a vertical slit tore open across her forehead, revealing a jade-green pupil within. Once the wave of torment faded, the elementalist slowly rose, looking dazedly at her surroundings. Then the vertical eye on her forehead opened wide, rapidly scanning the nearby area. At the same time, Lu Sheng perceived the ability granted by the new eye. Familiar, Xiaogu race, elementalist gender, female age, 41 youth stage innate talent arts, element vision, truth, piercing divine pupil, the power to see through illusions. Lu Sheng stroked his chin and pondered. Earlier stone constructs subjected to mutation had never manifested abilities like this. Most positive mutations only enhanced their raw combat power. It seemed different races experienced vastly divergent mutation pathways. The cost also varied. Mutating an elementalist required 1,000 faith points. If the mutation failed, another 1,000 faith points were needed to restore her through purification. Therefore, after Lu Sheng spent faith points to grant all 21 elemental conjurers the mutated talent Eye of Delusion Piercer, he had expended a total of 1.7 million faith points. The elemental conjurers had manifested other positive mutations along the way, yet those abilities were rather mediocre. Lu Sheng continued re-rolling their mutations until all obtained Eye of Delusion Piercer. He ran subsequent tests. Even a nascent soul grand cultivator concealed within an isolation formation while fully activating the breath concealment art could be easily seen through by the elemental conjurers using their third eye ability. Thanks to the 10,000 races flourish entry, my vassals also gain bonuses from far, sight, and hawk eyes. On the battlefield, what assassin will ever be able to strike down the army's commanders? Lu Sheng's heart surged with excitement. He recalled the major competition in Linhai City, when Yuzo nearly lost his head to a goblin raiding party. If an elemental conjurer like his had been present back then, that disaster would never have happened. I wonder if the effects brought on by mutation can be passed down genetically. Lu Sheng pondered. If mutated creatures' offspring stood a chance of inheriting the corresponding talents and abilities, then the S-rank entry power of mutation would be overwhelmingly powerful. To test his theory, he killed one mutated 8-armed stone golem. When it split apart, the newly formed small stone golem also possessed 8 arms. An 8-armed stone golem wielded 8 limbs and could mine or more than 3 times as fast as ordinary stone golems, maximizing work efficiency. Lu Sheng immediately saw an opportunity. He could produce a workforce of highly efficient 8-armed stone golem miners. His plan was set. Lu Sheng sent orders to the stone golem subjects tasked with mining for a full decade, commanding them to gather in one location. The stone golems remained unaware of what awaited them, hopeful about the freedom they would soon earn after finishing their labor contract. We've finally finished 10 years of work. Freedom is almost mine. Once I'm free, I'll sleep nonstop. I'll only get up to eat rock, and I'll never work again. That's right. I wonder where Shi Yong and the others went. We promised to travel the world together after our service. I've spent all these years trapped in the mines and have never laid eyes on the outside world. The stone golems chatted among themselves, then followed human cultivator guides into a basin surrounded by mountains. Honored immortals. The lead stone golem felt a flicker of unease and tried to question the cultivator leading them, only to be trapped by an irresistible force. The more than 100,000 stone golems within the basin met the same fate. The next instant, crimson light burst forth from their bodies, and shrill cries echoed out. Aag! One stone golem after another began to mutate. Those shifting toward the 8-armed form endured the process, but any failed mutation or undesired trait was immediately reset by Lu Sheng's purification, followed by another round of mutation. Successfully mutating was not the end, either. As soon as a stone golem transformed into an 8-armed stone golem, nearby cultivator troops struck it down. It would split into smaller 8-armed golems, which were then escorted back to the mines to resume mining. Using this method, in the 215th year of the small world, all stone golems were converted into 8-armed stone golems, tripling mining output. Triple production affected every vein. Black tortoise crystal ore, fine iron ore, and medium, great spirit stone veins all yielded 3 times as many resources. This meant the Divine Kingdom's monthly spirit stone revenue would rise from 600 billion to 1,800 billion, a net increase of 1,200 billion per month. Yet transforming over 600,000 stone golems cost Lu Sheng less than 10 billion faith points. The profit margin was staggering. Lu Sheng could now afford to run the S-rank structure spirit essence refinery at full power without strain. Over these 5 years, 3 F-rank entries emerged: flexible bones, accelerated growth, all creatures mature 10% faster, and gluttonous appetite moderately boost eating and digestion speed. 1C rank entry. Scientific advancement. As scientific thinking spreads worldwide, research speed can increase by up to 100%. 1B rank entry. Artisan core drastically raises the birth rate of master craftsmen and increases the success rate of all artifact forging within the small world by 100%. In the 216th year of the small world, Lu Sheng was asleep when a tremendous disturbance rippled through his divine kingdom, jolting him awake at once. What is happening? He projected his consciousness into the small world, and his eyes widened sharply. X rank talent entry Lord activated. Talents refreshed. New entry born. SSS rank talent entry. Diligence rewarded unique. All efforts shall bear fruit. From this moment onward, none of your subjects will face bottlenecks in any pursuit, including but not limited to cultivation, learning, craft mastery, combat training, and scientific exploration. All attainments will never degrade. For example, mastery of swordsmanship will remain perfect even after 100 years of disuse. Rewards scale with the intensity and duration of effort, reaching a maximum of 1,000 times the investment. An SSS rank talent. Joy surged through Lu Sheng, chasing away all traces of drowsiness. Though the entry lord ability claimed entries of all ranks appeared randomly, his long observations confirmed high rank entries were far rarer than low rank ones. He possessed only one SS rank entry, Spirit Energy Revival, while dozens of E rank and F rank entries had accumulated. Lu Sheng had expected to wait far longer. He had not anticipated this breakthrough arriving so soon. Boom, boom, boom. Shortly after diligence rewarded manifested, breakthroughs erupted across the small world. Countless warriors and cultivators stuck at the threshold between the 3rd and 4th ranks felt their long, insurmountable barriers dissolve mid-cultivation, naturally advancing to the next realm. Within just 3 months, tens of thousands of 4th rank beings emerged across the small world. Lu Sheng turned his gaze elsewhere. Lin Mulan cultivated deep within Prenglai Wonderland. She occasionally sipped immortal nectar before continuing to absorb ambient spirit energy. As the small world soul nascent soul peak cultivator, freed from realm bottlenecks, her power grew ever stronger as she rapidly neared 5th tier strength. Lu Sheng rejoiced. With diligence rewarded, every path of development will advance smoothly and effortlessly. The benefits extended beyond cultivation to crafts, research, and more. The potential for returns up to 1,000 times the effort promised immeasurable gains in the future. This was the true weight of an SSS rank talent. The following year, the 217th year of the small world, Yuzo refined his spirit root into a top-grade wood spirit root and successfully advanced to the late nascent soul realm. Boom. At that exact moment, an even more terrifying surge of spirit energy erupted within Star City. Clad in a golden robe that radiated sharp, killing intent, Xian Yuan had advanced to nascent soul peak ahead of Yu Xiaoman. Divine Kingdom subject, Xian Yuan race, human gender, male age, 113 spirit root, top, grade metal spirit root cultivation arts, mixed metal formula, black tortoise golden armor, silken sword chi, golden divine thunder, and more. Realm, nascent soul peak talents, metal embodiment, berserker physique, and more root bone. Profound ranks, profound, heavenly, earthly, ordinary, mortal. Xian Yuan's natural talent rivals Yu Xiaoman's, yet he trains several times harder. He was already closing the gap before diligence rewarded appeared. Overtaking him now makes sense, Lu Sheng mused. What surprised him, however, was that immediately after breaking through, Xian Yuan did not pause to stabilize his cultivation. Instead, he assembled a massive army and laid siege to the Spirit Essence Refinery. Many senior influential figures of the Divine Kingdom were cultivating inside, including Yuzo. While the refinery's primary function was spirit root refinement, cultivators with wood spirit roots cultivated far faster amid concentrated wood, attuned spirit energy than in ordinary regions. Many veteran cultivators chose to remain after their refinement concluded to continue training, making rapid progress. Lord City Lord Xianyuan, when do we strike? Outside the Spirit Essence refinery, 1 million elite cultivator troops sealed off every exit. Every face among them belonged to a young cultivator. Now, Xianyuan's gaze was sharp, his tone unwavering. These people have enjoyed privilege long enough. It is time for them to settle their debts. All troops listen. Spare Yuzhou. Slay all others without hesitation. Yes. Led by nascent soul cultivators and supported by Golden Corps officers, the army flooded into the massive structure and began attacking the cultivators mid-cultivation. Decades of cultural evolution had separated the newer generations of cultivators living in the 3 great immortal cities from the ancient Giba tribe clans folk. After multiple population booms, divides between individuals had grown deeper and deeper. When the divine ruler issued no edict, people prioritized personal interests over the collective human race, even the all-under-heaven society that had overthrown the Elder Council long ago. Fierce competition over resources left young cultivators constrained by outdated traditions, limited access to military merit, and countless other burdens, filling them with frustration. Now, under Xianyuan's leadership, civil war ignited. Interesting. Lu Sheng merely watched with curiosity and made no move to intervene. If he still needed to secure qualifications for the heavenly selection, he would have suppressed all internal conflict and forbidden his subjects from killing one another. But he had already obtained guaranteed entry. Everything unfolding in the small world followed the law of survival of the fittest. Whoever prevailed would strengthen the divine kingdom. Even if events strayed far from his expectations, he could step in at any moment. Within the small world. Xianyuan, what have you done? As the slaughter spread, Yu Zhou and the other senior cultivators inside the refinery realized something was wrong. They witnessed Xianyuan strike down an elder of the Giba tribe, and Yu Zhou roared furiously. Lord Yu Zhou, your time has passed. Xianyuan shook his head. Golden light flashed in his hand, and another warrior crumpled to the ground. You dare? Rage blinded Yu Zhou, yet countless silken sword threads wrapped around his body in an instant, locking him completely immobile. Yu Zhou's talent for commanding armies was unmatched, but in one-on-one combat, he could not stand against Xianyuan, who had climbed from obscurity all the way to nascent soul peak through relentless struggle. In the 218th year of the small world, the Lord of White Deer City fled to Yin City with remnants of his army, bearing earth-shaking news. Xianyuan had staged a rebellion, and Yu Zhou had been captured. Learning of this, Lin Mulan and Yu Xiaoman were forced to halt their cultivation. They ordered the lords of Heavenly Ruin City and Yin City to raise a punitive expedition, vowing to cut Xianyuan into 10,000 pieces. By the end of that year, 5 million troops marched on White Deer City. Xianyuan, you traitor! Do you understand you are betraying the entire human race? Xianyuan, cease your pointless resistance. We have assembled 5 million soldiers, tens of thousands of fourth-rank experts, and dozens of late nascent soul powerhouses. Victory is impossible for you. Surrender Yu Zhou and lay down your weapons, and you may yet keep your life. Beneath the walls of White Deer City, the 3 city lords and elders of the surviving Giba tribe shouted furiously at the golden-robed figure standing atop the battlements. Beside Xianyuan stood Yu Zhou, his cultivation sealed away. Xianyuan, Lin Mulan hovered in midair, her face cold as frost. My husband and I treated you generously. We named you Lord of Star City, granting you authority over the 3 great immortal cities. Is this how you repay your benefactors? Yu Xiaoman seethed with wrath. Brat Xianyuan, I pray you never fall into my hands, or I will make you suffer endless torment. Prepare to fire. Click. At Yu Xiaoman's command, 500,000 Griffin Knights circling overhead knocked their bows, aiming hundreds of thousands of arrows directly at the soldiers lining White Deer City's walls. A heavy aura of killing intent hung thick in the air. If Xianyuan uttered a single word of refusal, hundreds of thousands of black tortoise crystal arrows would rain down, striking him dead on the spot. On White Deer City's battlements, Xianyuan ignored the shouts coming from below, his expression calm. The battle is not yet decided. Do not speak so confidently. Raise the formation. The moment he spoke, 100,000 Golden Corps cultivators took flight. Each gripped a dark green formation flag and scattered to positions all around White Deer City. Upon landing, the flags surged with surging spirit energy, their powers linking together to form a rotating tortoise-shell starry sky above the city. This was the A-rank city barrier, Black Tortoise Mountain, suppressing formation. It had been created by several fourth-rank formation masters, adapted from the B-rank Black Tortoise Transcendence formation mounted on Sky sailing battleships. Thanks to bonuses from the All Arts Academy, Formation Mastery, and numerous command entries, the Divine Kingdom's formation masters advanced at incredible speed. Formations touched every aspect of life. Hiding formations and illusion arrays protected privacy, while arrays carved into weapons and garments bolstered combat power. Formation masters had grown more sought after than alchemists, becoming the most popular profession in the Divine Kingdom, with over 104th-rank formation masters in service. So this heartless beast refuses to resolve this peacefully? Seeing the barrier activate, killing intent filled Yu Xiaoman's eyes. He swung his raised arm sharply. Loose. Swoosh. In an instant, hundreds of thousands of arrows glinting with icy blue light streaked down like falling meteors, slamming against the massive tortoise shell barrier. Bang, bang, bang. The first arrow collided with the formation, sending visible ripples across its surface. Wave after wave of arrows followed, shaking the barrier violently. Strange runes etched onto the arrows ignited upon impact, unleashing deafening explosions. For all the noise, the Black Tortoise Mountain, suppressing formation, endured every strike. Inside the city, 100,000 golden core cultivators channeled spirit stones into the formation nodes and poured their power into maintaining the barrier. The tortoise shell shield solidified once more. I want to see how long your formation can hold. Yuzo snorted coldly. Another wave of hundreds of thousands of arrows descended. The defensive formation teetered constantly on the verge of collapse, frustrating Yu Xiaoman and his allies. The Lord of White Deer City spoke. Madam Lin, let us assemble the Immortal Execution Sword Array and coordinate with the Griffin Knight's bombardment. We might break this formation in one strike. Chen Guang agreed. The longer we wait, the worse the impact on troop morale. We should launch a full assault and seize White Deer City at once. The Lord of Yin City added. We cannot rest until Lord Yuzhou is freed. We cannot. Lin Mulan frowned and shook her head after brief consideration. Xian Yuan possesses formidable strength, 1,000,000 cultivator troops, and endless formations. If we exhaust too many soldiers now, we may walk straight into his trap. Bring forth all 30 sky sailing battleships. Do not conserve arrows or spirit stones. Press the attack with full force. Both sides unleashed their strongest assets, dragging the conflict into a grueling war of attrition. Boom, boom, boom. With 30 sky sailing battleships joining the assault, the Black Tortoise Mountain, suppressing formation, endured far heavier pressure. It neared total collapse several times, stabilized only through the combined efforts of fourth-rank formation masters. The siege dragged on for a month within the small world. While the punitive army and Xian Yuan's forces fought, the 8-armed stone golems never halted mining. Constant shipments of spirit stones and armaments kept flowing to the front lines. The punitive army's supply lines held steady, allowing unrelenting assaults. White Deer City, however, struggled to keep up with the formation's energy consumption, and its defenses steadily weakened. Boom. Another volley from the sky, sailing battleships tore open a crack in the barrier. Lin Mulan and the others quickly assembled the Immortal Execution Sword Array. They seized the chance to rupture the formation completely. Signal the Griffin Knight Corps and Sky sailing battleships to cease fire. All punitive army troops advance into the city. Lin Mulan ordered. The flying warships and Griffin Knights had only been tasked with breaking the barrier. She dared not order indiscriminate bombardment, as countless civilians still lived inside White Deer City. She would not earn eternal infamy for massacring innocent people. More importantly, her husband remained trapped within the city. Charge! At the command, 5,000,000 soldiers advanced and disciplined 5 divisions, their momentum shaking heaven and earth. The city gate lay broken. Without formation protection, the sturdy fine iron gate could not withstand Lin Mulan's fourth-rank talisman for even 3 seconds before blowing apart. Warriors and cultivators of the punitive army surged into White Deer City like a tide, immediately clashing with Xian Yuan's soldiers. Stop, traitor! Lin Mulan, Yu Xiaoman and the others locked onto the golden-robed figure. They activated Golden Radiance travel talismans. They boosted their speed and closed in on Xian Yuan in a handful of breaths. Yu Xiaoman and the Lord of White Deer City covered the rear. Chen Guang and the Lord of Yin City moved to the right. The Lord of Talent City and another nascent soul expert flanked the left. Lin Mulan blocked Xian Yuan's path forward, forming a complete encirclement. Yu Xiaoman wove hand seals, undisguised killing intent in his gaze. Xian Yuan, your cause is lost. Will you surrender? My cause is lost. Faced with 8 nascent soul experts surrounding him, Xian Yuan showed no fear. He kept one hand clamped around Yuzhou and wore a mocking smile. This is only round 2. What do you mean? The leaders furrowed their brows, trying to parse his words, when a shrill scream echoed from their rear. Aak! They spun around. A bloodied hand pierced straight through Yu Xiaoman's chest, and standing behind him was the Lord of White Deer City, his face twisted with triumph. Fellow Taoist Yu Xiaoman. At the same moment, the shattered defensive barrier rose again. This was no longer the black tortoise mountain suppressing formation, a barrier meant for defense. It was a slaughter array of equal power, a formation hidden within another formation. The black tortoise mountain suppressing array served as the outer decoy. By letting it appear breached, Xian Yuan concealed the killing formation beneath it, luring the army into the trap. He had even deliberately allowed the Lord of White Deer City to escape earlier, so the Lord could secretly guide the punitive army into the city and strike at the decisive moment. Xian Yuan must have spent decades plotting this scheme. His scheming was unimaginably cruel. You, how could you? Yu Xiaoman stared down at the hand piercing his torso, disbelief etched across his face. He wanted to ask why, but his internal organs had already been torn apart by surging spirit power. Warm blood flooded his throat, and his vision began to fade. Yu Xiaoman had never anticipated a sneak attack. The Lord of White Deer City was a late nascent soul cultivator, and the unguarded Yu Xiaoman suffered a devastating blow in an instant. Xiaoman. When Lin Mulan witnessed this scene, she completely lost her composure. She pulled out dozens of talisman slips all at once. Her surging mana was so overwhelming that even Xian Yuan and the Lord of White Deer City had no choice but to temporarily retreat. By the time Lin Mulan rushed over, Yu Xiaoman had only a breath of life left. No, 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 no. Lin Mulan clutched Yu Xiaoman tightly, tears streaming down her face in an instant. Save father, father, you must make it out alive. After uttering her final words, Yu Xiaoman's vital energy dissipated entirely. Her eyes remained open, yet her pupils had already grown vacant. No! A shrill cry rang out. Lin Mulan's mana erupted uncontrollably, shaking violently and grinding the buildings below into fine powder. The air for miles around groaned under the strain. Boom, boom, boom. Having escaped the shock waves of the talisman explosions, Xian Yuan and the city lord drew their spirit swords and activated the city, protecting Grand Formation. They were ready to fight to the death at any moment. Suddenly, Lin Mulan jerked her head upward, her eyes bloodshot. She spoke each word deliberately. I want you dead. A great battle was imminent. The Lord of White Deer City held Chun Guang and one nascent soul cultivator at bay. The Lord of Yin City and the Lord of Tianshu City moved to stand beside Lin Mulan. They formed a triangular formation that encircled Xian Yuan. Die! There were no more words this time. Lin Mulan unleashed her deadliest strike immediately. Several brilliant green sword beams streaked down, carrying boundless killing intent. The Lord of Yin City summoned a giant cauldron, rapidly forming hand seals to send it soaring high into the sky. It unleashed a terrifying mana cage, sealing off every possible escape route. The Lord of Tianshu City drew a blood-red greatsword, transforming into a crimson streak that struck toward Xuan Yuan's back from an extremely tricky angle. Bring it on! Xian Yuan let out a loud roar. The golden radiance of 72 flying swords around him blazed intensely. He alone formed a minor heavenly cycle sword formation, charging head-on against the 3 assailants. Boom! The golden sword light swallowed the crimson streak with overwhelming force. It then swept sideways, shattering Lin Mulan's attack. It blocked the first wave of assaults from the 3. Lin Mulan and the others' expressions shifted. They were about to strike again when a thunderous shout cut through the air. Bind! Xian Yuan twisted his sword fingers. With a dull pop, countless white chains as thick as tree trunks shot forth from the city, wide heavenly cycle formation. They hurtled toward Lin Mulan's group. They moved at staggering speed, faintly distorting space to trap the 3. They forced them to divert their strength to defend themselves. This brief delay was all Xian Yuan needed. In an instant, he flashed behind Chun Guang and drove his sword straight through his heart. Thud! Chun Guang, leader of the World Union. Fallen. The other nascent soul cultivator was swiftly slain by the pair working together. The scales of victory had tilted firmly toward Xian Yuan. Furthermore, compared to this small skirmish, The expeditionary army ambushed within the city was being ruthlessly suppressed by Xuanyuan's troops, leveraging the power of the Grand Formation. At that moment, all they could think of was breaking the formation. But how easy could it be to breach an A-grade slaughter formation? It was controlled by dozens of fourth-rank formation mages and powered by tens of thousands of nascent soul cultivators. On top of that, they faced constant harassment from Xuanyuan's soldiers, each possessing formidable strength. Only now did they truly understand how agonizing the battles against foreign races had felt in the past. Madam Lin, we have lost this battle. But as long as you and Lord Yuzhou survive, we are not defeated. The Lord of Yin City transmitted his voice swiftly. His tone was resolute. Shortly, the Lord of Tianshu City and I will exert our full strength to hold Xianyuan back. Seize the chance and take Lord Yuzhou away. No, you can't. Lin Mulan tried to refuse, but the Lord of Yin City cut her off sternly. Madam Lin, now is not the time for hesitation. Do you wish to see Yu Xiaomon's sacrifice go to waste and let this realm fall into the tyrant's hands? Lin Mulan fell silent. I understand. To nascent soul cultivators, the exchange of telepathic words lasted merely a heartbeat, and the three reached an agreement. Boom! Xianyuan and the Lord of White Deer City attacked once more. The Lord of Yin City and the Lord of Tianshu City charged forward. They radiated the aura of cultivators prepared to detonate their nascent souls. The detonation of a nascent soul unleashed cataclysmic power. Shocked, Xianyuan and his companion immediately halted their assault and retreated. Seizing this opening, Lin Mulan darted forward, snatched Yuzhou from Xuanyuan's grasp, and held him tightly in her arms. She fled madly toward the city outskirts. Once Lin Mulan was far enough away, the two city lords abandoned combat and fled in separate directions. Don't let them escape. The Lord of White Deer City moved to give chase, but Xianyuan held him back. There is no need. Xianyuan swallowed a medicinal pill, his expression calm. Lin Mulan's talisman arts are devastating. If we recklessly pursue her, we risk suffering severe backlash. We can gather more cultivators and hunt her down at a later time. On the edge of White Deer City, Lin Mulan fled to this spot with Yuzhou in her arms. Yet even after unleashing more than 10 fourth-rank talismans one after another, she could not blast open a breach in the fully activated 9 Nether Dark Evil formation. Cough, cough. Yuzhou slowly regained consciousness. Joy flared across his face when he saw Lin Mulan. It quickly faded into alarm. He asked urgently, Mulan, where is Xiaoman? Lin Mulan said nothing. Curse it. If I had known this would happen, I never would have promoted Xianyuan. Yuzhou read the silence correctly and struck his chest in bitter regret. The son he had placed all his hopes on was gone, just like that. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. At that moment, hundreds of streams of light descended. Every figure emanated powerful mana fluctuations. Without exception, all were nascent soul cultivators. Xianyuan stepped forward, the tip of his sword aimed at the two of them. Lord Yuzhou, Madam Lin, the old era has ended. Why not submit to me and help forge a new age, serving our god? Lin Mulan acted as if she had not heard a word. She glanced at the hundreds of figures behind her. Then she looked down at her husband, whose mana had been exhausted. She whispered softly, Husband, if we manage to escape, would you journey across thousands of rivers and mountains with me? Yuzhou's eyes widened. He instantly realized what she intended and shouted frantically, Don't. But it was already too late. Boom. Lin Mulan took out 3 fourth-rank talismans and spat a mouthful of essence blood onto them. The lifelike patterns on the talismans wriggled as if alive. Essence blood vaporized above the talismans before seeping deep into their spirit runes. They forcibly elevated the 3 high-grade 4th-rank talismans to 5th-rank power. At the same time, Lin Mulan's complexion paled visibly. Though not yet 200 years old, strands of white hair bloomed at her temples in an instant. Blood talisman body. A technique that sacrificed vast lifespan to forcibly raise the rank of talismans. Sensing the imminent danger, the onlookers unleashed countless spells of every hue, surging toward her. Go! Lin Mulan merely tossed 1 5th-rank talisman. It blocked every incoming attack. Its shockwave sent hundreds of nascent soul cultivators stumbling backward. She then hurled the remaining 2 talismans toward the city walls. Rumble, rumble. A massive crack tore open the 9 Nether Dark Evil formation. One fracture triggered countless others across the formation. The besieged expeditionary army spotted the escape routes and scattered in flight. Carrying Yuzhou, Lin Mulan transformed into a streak of golden light and fled into the distance. She still holds such a trump card. That saves us some trouble. Surprise flickered across Xuanyuan's face. He stowed the formation, controlling banner in his hand, and unleashed another spell to give chase. 100 li from White Deer City. A golden light streaked rapidly across the land, pursued by dozens of speeding streams of light. I must burn my essence blood to keep us alive. Lin Mulan spat another mouthful of blood onto a fourth, rank ground traversing Golden Radiance talisman. She pushed its rank up to 5th rank. Her flight speed surged once more. Even so, her vitality faded further. Fine wrinkles crept across skin that had once been smooth. Boom. Just as Lin Mulan began pulling away from the hundreds of pursuing nascent soul cultivators, a giant bell treasure crashed down ahead. It blocked her path. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Moments later, dozens more nascent soul cultivators appeared. They were arrayed with treasures to cut off all escape. Seal. Xian Yuan tossed dozens of flying swords to form a miniature sword formation. Violent astral energy crashed down, pinning Lin Mulan in place. More cultivators arrived one after another. Immortality, binding ropes, mountain, suppressing seals, treasure after treasure was deployed. Yet none struck to kill immediately. Even so, the combined mana of hundreds of nascent soul cultivators was far beyond Lin Mulan's capacity to withstand. She was crushed to the ground, unable to move. She had reached a dead end. Lin Mulan knelt half, crouched within a crater, her hair disheveled, yet her back remained straight as she shielded the person in her arms tightly. Yu Zhou, held safely against her chest, stared at her with a tangled mix of agony, heartache, rage, and affection. Mulan, abandon me. Flee while you still can, Yu Zhou wept bitterly. Seals locked his mana, leaving him utterly powerless. To him, this torment was worse than lingering torture. Why? Why did history repeat itself? To save him, Lord Long had died, Xiaoman had died, and now Mulan faced destruction. Why could he never be the one standing in front, shielding others? Teacher, I have broken most of the seals binding you. Shortly, I will burn away all my remaining lifespan to forge a top, grade 5th, rank talisman. Escape amid the chaos, and do not look back. Lin Mulan lowered her head, her mind set on sacrificing herself. Mulan, if Xiaoman is gone, and you perish too, what reason do I have left to live? As the two prepared to fight their last stand. Clang. The hundreds of cultivators surrounding them simultaneously retracted their treasures and landed on the ground. They made no further move to attack. What did this mean? Yu Zhou and Lin Mulan froze, utterly confused. Lord Yu Zhou, Madam Lin, forgive our offense. A trace of remorse crossed Xuanyuan's face, yet his gaze remained resolute. Do not think me cruel. Our past debate made it clear. Without extreme measures, you would never resolve to act against the corrupt factions entrenched among us. I respect you, and all those who have fought for humanity. Yet sometimes your judgments are not flawless. Even sound decisions can be distorted or ignored by those meant to carry them out. The spirit refining wells are divine gifts. How many cultivators gained heavenly spirit roots yet refused to depart, clinging greedily to the concentrated single-element spirit environment? And Chen Guang, who claimed the World Union, fought for young cultivators. He is nothing more than another elder council. Do you know how many resources he secretly hoarded for his own clan? But you should never have resorted to war. Yu Zhou's hands trembled, struggling to accept the outcome. Do you realize how many lives this conflict will claim? Our God may well unleash divine wrath. Lord Yu Zhou, in truth, this plan originates with me, yet it also bears our God's will. Xian Yuan smiled faintly, dropping a bombshell. Without our God working behind the scenes, how could a rising newcomer like myself command 1,000,000 troops? The Lord of White Deer City has served you for over a century, loyal beyond question. Who but our God could persuade him to turn against you? That, Yu Zhou fell silent. He could not deny Xuanyuan's words. Few others knew the depth of his bond with the Lord of White Deer City, a friendship forged since the era of Lord Long, strong enough for either to lay down their life for the other. At these words, Lin Mulan ignored her injuries and asked urgently, "What of my Xiaoman?" When the Lord of White Deer City struck, he deliberately avoided vital organs. Young friend, you sustained no mortal harm. He is now recovering within the Yellow Springs body-tempering pool and will heal fully before long. Relief washed over Yu Zhou and Lin Mulan, quelling the last embers of resentment in their hearts. Our God watches over us all. Xuanyuan's eyes shone brightly as he continued. Though this war raged on a massive scale, our God commands immense divine power. Apart from the corrupt humans I purged, all other soldiers have been healed. Casualties are far lighter than they appear. Even if Madame Lin had not shattered the formation with talismans, I would have created an opening to let the besieged army retreat. At that moment, A vast, distant voice echoed in the minds of every inhabitant of the divine realm, shaking their souls. No large-scale warfare shall break out for 100 years. Devote all efforts to growing stronger. We obey the divine edict. Everyone knelt respectfully. Year 219 of the minor world. The war came to an end. An unprecedented grand assembly was held across the divine realm. Unified currency and measurements were established, military merit and contributions were formalized, academies were founded. Civil and martial examinations were instituted, and a supervision system was enacted. Record, your subject Xianyuan ascended the throne, founding the Yin dynasty. Record, your subject Yuzhou established the Void Spirit sect and took the position of Supreme Elder. The Yin dynasty oversaw overall governance, resource distribution, and talent promotion to advance every field within the divine realm. The Void Spirit sect, led directly by Yuzhou under the god's authority, monitored the Yin dynasty, empowered to intervene should the nation stray from its proper path. Boom. Year 220 of the minor world. Two terrifying auras erupted from the Yin dynasty capital and the Void Spirit sect, shaking the land for hundreds of li around. In the real world, Lu Sheng sensed the upheaval in his divine realm at once, his face lighting up with joy. Xianyuan and Lin Mulan are about to break through to spirit transformation. Lu Sheng's consciousness instantly descended into the divine realm. Within the minor world, the Yin dynasty's capital stood at Star Heaven City, while the Void Spirit sect was built near the element Divine Tree. Intense spiritual energy fluctuations, far exceeding fourth rank power, surged from both locations. The heavenly reward title had only manifested a few years prior, yet 200,000 fourth rank beings had emerged in the divine realm. Now, bolstered by immense foundations, Xianyuan and Lin Mulan surged toward the realm beyond fourth rank. Crack! A clear splitting sound echoed. Lu Sheng felt an invisible barrier within himself shatter completely. Immediately, a scorching current surged upward along his spine like erupting subterranean fire, flooding every part of his body. Flesh reshaped, bones rumbled, every cell within him underwent visible sublimation. His senses sharpened to their absolute limit. Abruptly, the world before Lu Sheng shifted. Colors grew far more vivid. Tiny dust motes drifting in the air stood clear and distinct. He could even trace the flow of wind. His perception had reached the minor insight realm. Lu Sheng glanced down at his hands. His fingers were slender and smooth as jade. Beneath the skin, faint law halos swirled. With a light clench, the air in his palm detonated violently under pressure. This advancement was unlike any before. Previous improvements had been like adding weight to a block of wood, increasing it from 1 gene to 2, then 3. This time, the wood had turned to steel. It was a fundamental transformation of life order. Mortal flesh cast off, replaced by a divine body. Lu Sheng tilted his head and exhaled a long breath. Compared to his own transformation, the changes unfolding in the minor world were staggering. Rumble, rumble. Lu Sheng's consciousness hovered high above the clouds within the minor world, witnessing the spectacle unfolding below. At the borders of the world, countless streaks of multicolored light wrapped around the realm, expanding outward at tremendous speed. Plains stretched endlessly forward. Towering mountain ranges rose roaring from the earth. Rivers burst forth. Forests, hills, valleys, new landforms materialized one after another along the edge of the world, expanding further still. 1 million square kilometers. 3 million square kilometers. 10 million square kilometers. The multicolored radiance only dimmed and dissolved into clouds once the territory reached 13 million square kilometers. In the span of a few breaths, the minor world expanded from just over 300,000 square kilometers to 13 million square kilometers. Empowered by the S-rank tenfold spirit energy title, the newly formed land brimmed with spirit energy the moment it came into being, its concentration rising visibly. In an instant, it reached 10 times the original density, and it continued climbing steadily. Still, it paled in comparison to the central region, where spirit energy neared liquid form, close to 100 times the original concentration. Spirit energy thinned outward from the center. Concentrations fell steadily toward the borders, dropping to roughly a dozen times the baseline. The inhabitants of the minor world quickly sensed the anomaly. After massive aerial surveys by Griffin Night units, they realized the world that once could be crossed in a few days of flight now could not be traversed even after a month of non-stop travel. It is enormous, unimaginably vast. Is this the power of our God, to create such boundless land with a single thought? Our God has granted us more space to dwell. Praise our God. Praise our God. Under Xuanyuan's command, swarms of inhabitants were transported to the new territories on spirit beasts and flying boats, rapidly erecting new cities across the empty land. Lu Sheng chose not to summon stone construct laborers this time. Blessed by the array of titles and able to wield mana, his people no longer required clumsy stone constructs for construction work. With a simple wave of the hand, mana lifted building materials and assembled structures effortlessly. With abundant new living space, the former population control policies were lifted, and large-scale population growth began once more. On the other hand, after ascending to demigod status, certain fundamental rules of heaven and earth seemed to shift. Not only human subjects, but all low-order creatures found breaking through to higher realms far easier than before. Stone golems, greystone gnomes, and even night griffins were all breaking through their bottlenecks on a large scale, advancing to higher tiers. Deity, Lu Sheng, divine rank, demigod, small world area, 13 million square kilometers, subject race, humans. Subject population, 136172362 order beings, 2135804 order beings, third order beings. Laws, law of life, 4.7%, innate talent, X, rank master of keywords. Retainers, elementalists 319 juveniles, stone golems 1/4, order, third order, greystone gnomes 17 4th order, third order. Structures, S, rank spiritual energy refinery well, assets, medium, grade spirit, vein mine. Divinity, 10,910.96 sourced from subjects. Bolstered by the keyword diligence rewarded by heaven and a host of other buffs, Lin Mulan and Su Yuan's breakthroughs proceeded without a hitch. As simple as eating and drinking. With this vast expanse of land, I can ramp up my investments. Lu Sheng stroked his chin and pondered. 13 million square kilometers of territory, paired with the rising intelligence of his subjects and the emergence of skilled architects, meant countless new structures were rising from the ground. Even with growth acceleration, fertile homeland, and peaceful abode in effect, his small world would likely fail to hit its population carrying capacity within 100 years of development. He possessed ample vacant land to launch far larger ventures. When that time came, his gains would multiply more than tenfold. Just as Lu Sheng was mapping out his investment plans, someone knocked on his door, and Su Yuan's voice sounded from outside. Classmate Lu Sheng, might I have a word? Lu Sheng closed his smart wristband, stood up, and waved his hand. The door slid open automatically, to reveal a middle-aged man wearing a warm smile. Su Sheng's gaze swept over Lu Sheng, his pupils constricting slightly in surprise. I thought you would need to purchase high-tier constructions on Zway Star before achieving your breakthrough. I never expected you to advance this quickly. Excellent. Your current performance qualifies you as a candidate, grade A candidate. I will submit an official report, and the Academy will soon adjust your allocated resources and access permissions. Keep an eye out for updates. Joy flashed across Lu Sheng's face. Thank you, Senior. With your talent, you could seek affiliation with one of the great clans on Zway Star once we arrive. You might stand a slim chance of advancing to grade A heavenly prodigy. Su Gong offered the reminder amiably. In this world teeming with deities, potential equated to status. Though Lu Sheng was merely a grade A candidate now, if he survived, he would at minimum rise to become a mid-tier true god in the future. For this reason, despite the massive gap in their power, Su Yuan and Lu Sheng stood on relatively equal footing. If Lu Sheng was fortunate enough to advance to grade A one day, even a mighty fourth-order true god like Su Yuan would be obligated to greet him respectfully. When dinner time arrived, Lu Sheng was preparing to head to the lounge for a meal when another knock echoed at his door. He opened it to see a refined, elegant young man standing outside, who smiled gently upon seeing him. Pei Xiaogong, grade A candidate. It is a pleasure to meet you. Having advanced to demigod, Lu Sheng's senses had sharpened immensely. He could immediately tell the young man before him was also a demigod. Those who had sought meetings with him in the past were all false gods. Now that he had reached demigod rank, his visitors belonged to a higher tier. Lu Sheng, nice to meet you. Lu Sheng replied politely, choosing not to turn the invitation down this time. Developing a divine kingdom relied on more than endless conflict. Now that he was a demigod, it was time to integrate into a new circle of peers. Lu Sheng followed Pei Xiaogong to a private dining room. Upon entering, 3 people were already seated inside, 1 man and 2 women. The pair on the left possessed striking good looks and silver hair. The young woman rested her arm through the young man's, showing obvious closeness. The young woman seated on the right had an ordinary appearance, yet carried the poised bearing of a noble lady. Lu Sheng thought silently. He never mentioned there would be this many people. Sensing Lu Sheng's confusion, Pei Xiaogong smiled and explained. Lu Xiong, I invited these three aboard the skyship. Once we reach Ziwei Academy, boosting our strength will inevitably involve assaulting the divine kingdoms of foreign demigods. These campaigns against outsiders are deadly ventures, so most prodigies choose to form alliances. All of us are grade A candidates, ranking decently within Ziwei Academy. We may need each other's assistance someday. It does no harm to get acquainted. We can stand together when marching against foreign foes. Pei Xiaogong first gestured toward the silver-haired young man. This is Fu Qing, and beside him is his younger sister Fu Jingjing. Fu Qing awakened the SS, rank innate talent goddess of wisdom, and follows the path of the mechanical divine kingdom. Fu Jingjing bears the SS, rank talent gluttony, commands abyss titans as her subjects, and both boast formidable strength. They were once branch members of the powerful Fu clan, but their extraordinary talents earned them recognition within the main household. The Fu clan's primary domain lies on Ziwei Star, our destination. Fu Qing remained impassive at Pei Xiaogong's praise, offering only a slight nod. Fu Jingjing, however, looked plainly proud and tilted her chin upward. She never let go of her brother's arm, leaning steadily toward him. Lu Sheng mused inwardly. Are they truly blood siblings? Their bond seems unusually tight. Still, this was their private matter. No matter how curious he was, he could not ask outright. After introducing the Fu siblings, Pei Xiaogong turned to the young woman on the right. This is Gu Qinghan. She also hails from a major clan, a direct descendant of the Gu clan on Wuji Star. Her SS, rank talent is hundredfold time flow. One day in the main world equals 100 years inside her divine kingdom. She follows the human cultivation path and is equally powerful. One day in the main world equals 100 years in the divine kingdom. Lu Sheng could not hold back his curiosity. With such a talent, your development speed would be 100 times faster than ours. Why have you not advanced to grade A heavenly prodigy? If he possessed this keyword talent, 1 year in the main world would translate to 36,500 years of cultivation for the inhabitants of his small world. Within a single year, nearly everyone might attain immortal status. At that point, he would stand as a prodigy unmatched by any tier. Yet Gu Qinghan let out a faint bitter laugh. Lu Xiong, while hundredfold time flow accelerates divine kingdom development, the time speed cannot be adjusted. It remains fixed at a hundredfold rate. If mismanaged, such rapid time flow can easily trigger the collapse of one's divine kingdom. Furthermore, a hundredfold time flow does not mean subjects cultivate 100 times faster. If their breakthrough pace cannot keep up, their lifespans will expire before their power rises. If not for my prestigious lineage supplying abundant clan resources, my divine kingdom would have crumbled long ago. Gu Qinghan spread her hands, helpless. My apologies. A look of remorse crossed Lu Sheng's face. He had been stunned by the talent's power and failed to consider its drawbacks. Talents allowing adjustable time flow were one thing, but an unchangeable extreme time multiplier carried immense risks. He might wake up to find all subjects within his divine kingdom had perished. On top of that, sustaining a hundredfold time flow consumed staggering volumes of resources, unaffordable for most cultivators. We will likely cooperate in the future. It is best to understand each other's strengths and weaknesses. Pei Xiaogong quickly smoothed over the awkward moment and continued. As for me, Pei Xiaogong, SS, rank talent ruler of the Zerg, direct line descendant of the Pei clan. My subjects are Star Zerg, and I follow a mass production warfare build. What about you, Lu Xiong? All eyes turned toward Lu Sheng as Pei Xiaogong shifted the topic. Everyone was curious about the newcomer. Lu Sheng, dual talents, C, rank fertile homeland, and SS, rank spiritual energy revival. My subjects are humans, and I follow the immortal cultivation path. I come from a remote, insignificant planet. Lu Sheng chose not to conceal his abilities. He might be the rarest genius his homeworld Blue Star had seen in a century, yet every person aboard this ark was a genius of that caliber. To borrow a phrase from his past life, even talents born once in 100 million could be found by the dozen here. The world of deities operated on an even higher standard. While his displayed talents were impressive, they were far not remarkable enough to make him stand out prominently among Ziwei Academy's countless talents. Ziwei Academy was a gathering place for exceptional talents competing for resources. Excessive secrecy would only prove disadvantageous. A dual, talent prodigy. That is quite rare. Pei Xiaogong showed mild surprise. The other three only glanced at Lu Sheng, without excessive astonishment. Click. The door opened with a soft sound. An intelligent robot wheeled in carrying a tray stacked with more than 10 gilded cards. Its mechanical arm tossed the cards, and over a dozen steaming dishes materialized on the table, filling the room with rich aromas. The group began chatting over their meal. Lu Sheng picked up a piece of monster meat and took a bite before returning to their initial subject. Pei Xiong, once we arrive at Ziwei Academy, why must we risk ourselves attacking foreign deities? All of us are prodigies. Would it not be safer to stay within the academy, develop our divine kingdoms, and strive for advancement to true God? Huh? Pei Xiaogong stared at Lu Sheng in surprise, as if observing something bizarre. Confused how Lu Sheng could ask such a question, Fu Qing raised an eyebrow, while Fu Jingjing pressed her face against her brother's chest, her shoulders shaking as she struggled to hold back laughter. Only Gu Qinghan remained unoffended by Lu Sheng's earlier tactless remark and offered a patient explanation. Lu Sheng only recently broke through to demigod, so it is understandable that you are unaware. After ascending to demigod, 3 conditions must be met to advance to true God. First, accumulate sufficient faith power within your divine kingdom. Second, comprehend a complete law. Third, expand your small world to over 100 million square kilometers. The first 2 requirements are manageable, yet natural expansion of a divine kingdom to 100 million square kilometers proceeds far too slowly. The only way to speed up advancement to true God is to wage war on foreign deities, seize their divine kingdom cores, and refine them. I see. Thank you for clarifying, classmate Gu. Lu Sheng had a sudden realization and bowed his fist gratefully.